Welcome to the Rockets. You've joined us last week for the European Major. Now it's time for the North America. The penultimate RLCS X event, this two-day event jam-packed with permutations and combination. The glory as the race, the final RLCS X championship spots draw to a close. I'm Danny Boy and I will be playing umpire with our two experts here on the desk. Please welcome R-League and Ian. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you, Danny. Things are going nicely. It's a nice chill day, but the chilliness has to stop. We have to warm up at some time, right? And what better way to do it with some North America action? Still spots to be decided in the top six, as you rightly say, for the championship status. It's going to get spicy over the next few hours, that's for sure.
Same for me. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. And spicy, definitely one word to describe it, with places up for grabs in the top three of the NA region, and those 5th, 6th, and 7th spots looking pretty tight as well. So I'm super excited and really happy to be here.
Well, understandably so as well. The format, same has always been, two groups of 5 in the playoff, top 8 advancing through. 902 points. Ooh, those could be such important, maybe even just the 300 for 9th and 10th. We will actually be looking at the points for the overall of the RLCS X circuit as well, and we'll just have a brief look through how each team has performed so far. NRG sitting proud on top, over 3,000 and near enough approaching 800 as well onto that there. Slowly trickling down, however, G2 Esports, FaZe and Shopify, they will be our focus later in this pre-show as well. Sonics, well, just slipped in through an X split, or X set, my apologies, just moving in. It was just over 1,000. And Spring, how they actually got here, will be a bit more of the interesting sort of environment as well. Our league, we have looked at everything that has been so far here as well. Exit, not too bad going through as the wild card here, but just as the points total so far here, not much splitting everybody apart.
Yeah, indeed. So, I mean, to pick up on that Xset, I find myself feeling so proud of Xset. I had the pleasure of commentating on them for one singular day in the grid back in the full split. And they've gone through two different types of squads, basically, where they had Alraz, he was eventually dropped, T. Corel comes in, they go from sort of being in games but never looking like winning them to sometimes looking like they can win games. T. Corel, a massive pop-off player, but they still couldn't find that key element to help them actually turn those almost wins into full-on wins. They now have Hoxer. We'll touch on him a little bit later, of course, XF featuring in our first series of the day, but he is a real game changer for that squad. But I'm so curious about those final positions for championships. G2, they've had a bit of a tumultuous time, haven't they? They can still qualify today, of course, but you've got the young guns, the likes of FaZe Clan, and of course the newly picked up, I guess not so newly anymore, but Shopify Rebellion, very close to the mark as well. And today, the next couple of days are going to be crucial to all three of those teams as they look to get more money on the board.
That sounds good as well, and we may as well head to the groups itself as well. A and B, one particularly maybe known as the Group of Death as well. And in that Group of Death, Group B more specifically, FaZe, G2, NRG, Space Station and Virgin 1 themselves. Oh, that's a difficult group. So I'm going to ask you maybe the first poison chalice on this particular group. Who's getting eliminated?
Oh, I mean, you've thrown me into the deep end there, asking which team I think will get eliminated. And of course, in both these groups, it's super tight. And when you come into the majors, every single team has earned a spot there, and they are the best of the best at that particular time. I mean, looking at Group B, talking about the poison, I think it's going to be a tight one. You know, you've got FaZe and G2, who are both battling for a 5th and 6th sort of finish to get into the championships. And but you've got version 1 in that group as well. One of these rosters which I think there's a lot more expectation on them than they have been showing in terms of capability. And I would call it close, I think, between G2 and version 1. However, G2 really have something to play for, and I think because of that, they're going to pull something extra special out of the bag here in this major just to get some extra points on the board. And therefore, version 1, we could be expecting to see them at the bottom of Group B.
That sounds interesting from that perspective. And Group A on the leaderboard there. In total, nobody scored any as nothing has happened yet as well. Road Shopify, Sonic's Team Envy, and Exit, as Alec has pointed out, he was the gridcaster for a period of time. Who's getting eliminated there, in your expert opinion?
It's a really tough one to call, actually. I think that actually this one's more of a group of death in regards to we don't really have a good idea as to who will get eliminated. I noticed that the Reddit vote, as happens before every regional and major, was actually pretty close. That one was edged by Xset. For my money, though, I've just got a good vibe about Xset. I've got a really good vibe about Hoxa for this major in general. And I think that Sonics, for me, have gone from a team that have been always the underdogs, always a team that's ready to beat whoever's up in front of them, to a team that, honestly, by the end of this split, I would not be surprised to see them go their separate ways. I'm looking in particular at Shock, a player that's had his ups, he's had his downs, going as far as being benched for a time. For my money, I think that he will find a better team going on forward into the summer. But for now, they've got a job ahead of them. They can still qualify. Of course, it's going to be close between themselves and Xset. For me, not enough to beat Xset, though.
That's fair enough as well. But who will, of course, progress further on? That, of course, requires a schedule of the day as well. And funny enough, we have got one here as well. Team Envy versus Xset starting off with our two lovely casters will be providing the voices on that one. But, Arlig,
Yes?
what is the match of the day on our schedule, in your opinion?
Oh, that's going to be a really tough one, actually, as well. I think that in terms of actual openness, who could win from both of these teams, I actually like the look of both of the Xset matches. I think that you look at Envy, you look at Rogue, two of the top teams in the region, they should win. But again, I've really got a good feeling about Xset on this one. But the match of the day, surely, has got to be one of the two version 1 matches. I think in particular FaZe Clan versus version 1. FaZe and G2 need those points desperately. FaZe more than G2 at the moment. They're the ones on the precipice right now. And version 1, they are a very tricky banana peel. If Com, who is thankfully playing today, comes in at the best of times, comes in great form, then I think both of these teams could honestly find difficulties. On paper, they should beat version 1. But again, you just never know. I just get this strange feeling. Today could be a day of upsets. And in North America, where goals are at a premium in comparison to the EU region, one or two could swing it your way.
Well, that is a very well filled out answer. And Ian, I'm just going to push it very quickly. Which one is it for you?
I think it's the first one. I think Xset versus Envy, and you might not agree, and you might think it'll be for those spots where there's a real battle happening. You know, the ones I really mentioned with Xset or with version 1, sorry, against FaZe. But for me, it's Xset versus Envy, simply because I think they are the kind of team that can go and upset, and they have proven that they can do that in the grid, and they are here now against Envy, and I think there's an opportunity for them to really try and get that underdog win.
That sounds good as well, but this is the pre-show after all. Plenty of topics, and maybe no bigger than the hot seat itself as well. It's sort of the SSG situation. Reynolds got suspended for the day, so he's not playing today, which is such a shame here. So, Arlie, can you sort of run us sort of what has happened and the impact that will be for SSG?
Yeah, so essentially the TLDR version is admins get a wrong decision in the last regional. You don't like to see it happen, but it does happen. SSG are given 70 points, but the fallout sees Rettles, as you rightly mentioned, effectively suspended for a day. So, in comes the sub. In comes Sathu, a player with a lot of experience, but not necessarily a lot of success. You might have seen him on the Sonics roster. He was actually part of that original SSG pickup when they picked up Bread. Got dropped very quickly, though. He is still on the subs bench, of course, and he does play today. But I actually want to go back to Aiden and saying that, him saying that, version 1 should probably be the team to drop. I know that SSG are expected to go through this group, but subs can go either way. I think there's been a bit of a rose-tinted view on subs recently, especially with the Fireburner effect. A sub can come in and do great things, but take it from me as a Caster over on the top bloke side of things when it comes to the grid. We've seen subs come in, and they have not necessarily lifted or elevated the team in any way. In fact, we saw with top blokes, there was an injury to Archie, one of the best in the region if you only watch NA. In comes Coach Rams. We love him. We adore him. He had some pop-off games, but they had so many consecutive series losses. I'm not going to say that's necessarily going to happen with Sathu. I think that Sathu has obviously been preparing for this. They've known about that suspension for a while, but the point still stands that I think it's actually going to be quite a close shave for SSG. And again, if that good version of version 1 turns up today and over the next day as well, then maybe we could see the biggest upset of all, Space Station Gaming not even making it through to the playoffs.
It's an interesting answer. It just shows you the importance of subs there. And, well, Rams, we do love you dearly. And we'll leave it there. But we'll also slightly touch up on the point there. You mentioned Sathu as well. This is actually its first RLCS game in 64 days since actually KCP back in the day, of course, been picked up, as we've been mentioned as well. Lost 0-3. Beat E United when they were at the sort of strong roster in the form of 3-1. Plenty still to go around there. But we've been talking about the NA Championship and how the flurries as well, the importance of a sub as well. NRG, Team Envy, SSG all still have odds in terms of going first to third. SSG with an asterisk there, but going potentially fourth, Rogue third or fourth. But those big three in terms of G2, FaZe and Shop Rebellion could be interesting, but what does it mean? Well, we'll of course have to find out as this championship moves on. Ireland and Ian, well, this is going to be a fabulous game, but Axet, what have they got?
They've got Hoxer. That's the simple answer I'm going to give to you. They have Hoxer. Let me just roll off some stats for you. Of course, it's worth mentioning E United since Hoxer left that roster, joins up with Xset, replacing T. Corral, who himself was one of like the bright sparks of Xset through spring, through the later parts of fall. Hoxer is joint top in assists per game in the spring split, along with Mist, who of course he faces up against today. That's pretty great. He also has the 5th most saves in the league. He works as almost like an old-style anchor creator, almost like a Cookseer type in a way, enabling his two teammates in front of him to really move up the pitch and actually have some offensive spikes. Envy can't afford to be complacent, I don't think, today. Should they win? Yes, absolutely. They're Envy. They're one of the best teams in the league. They have first place to fight for. But
they beat Mickey Moon.
They did beat Mickey Moon, but I think this is going to go to Game 5, personally.
I have to agree with you, Arlie. I do think it will go the whole way. They did this in the grid, went the whole way, and Envy took it. I mean, as you said, as they should. It's one of the best teams in the world. But Xset have the upset potential, and coming down to the way that they scrim. And I love that you bring up Hoxer, because talking about T. Corral, and you see them leaving. Oh, that's gonna hurt them surely. But no, Hoxer stepped into his shoes, and I think you mentioned his assists. He's actually got more assists than both of his teammates combined. So you can see just how much work he's doing to set his teammates up, and really, if he doesn't get shut down by Envy, I do think Xset are going to cause some problems. Of
course, we should really talk about Envy, right? Turbo Pulsar, the most successful player in all of RLCS history. It's hard to argue about that, right, Daddy?
Well, have to agree with everything that you said, but it's enough for the talk. It's time for the action. And Ireland, Ian, I'm a bit envious that you have this game, but take it away.
Thank you so much, Danny. Envy in the blue, Xset in the orange. On any day of the week, you'll look at this fixture and think, Xset, they're only in on the wild card. Surely Envy are going to 3-0 smack them. I don't think this is the case. I think they performed incredibly well in the grid. As I've already mentioned, Hoxer, a great foundation block from which they can strive to build upon a performance. But also Aiden, we've got to look at Alpha Kep and J Powell. Yes, it's all fair and well saying that you've got a good backline, but you need to be on song in the offense as well. And if you want to get past this Envy defense, they're going to have to be at their A game.
Absolutely. Of course, across all regionals, Xset have registered 115 goals. Sounds like a fairly big number. But when you come over and look over at Envy, they have more than double that across those same 3 regionals. And it really is just a golf in class. It's a team here. Envy with, as you said, Turbo Pulsar, the most successful player, backed up by Atomic and Mist. But at the moment, Hoxer coming in there, the man that's usually setting up the play for the shot. It's not worked out. Turbo Pulsar on the counter there, looking incredibly dangerous for Envy. Mist to the backboard, Turbo Pulsar to follow, and he will start the series off with a goal.
The 4-times champion, what better way to open? Turbo and Mist, by the way, you talk about that goal threat, 2nd and 5th highest goals per game in the spring split between the pair of them. They are a deadly combo, and as I mentioned in the pre-show, NA less goals than other regions per game, but ultimately it's what you do in those games that matters, and Hoxer there somehow manages to almost get it in. It's going to be put in by J-Pal. There's the Hoxer effect, instant equalizer.
Look how difficult he makes it there for his opponents, the way he carries it through, looking for that crossbar, and the way it's dropped down. Mist had no chance. J-Pal follows in quickly, trusts his teammate, and you can see that is just the work of having played together for a while with a player that does create these opportunities. You trust it, you follow it in. A lot of the times you see players not following in quite as quickly, not trusting as much, and you would see that opportunity get wasted. But now XSET have got the goal back within a minute of play. We've already seen 2. One for both sides.
Difficult there, but lifted out, and Atomic, I should mention Atomic's actually the one with the most assists, joint with Hoxer, not Mist, but it goes to show that this is an all-rounder team, Team Envy, and that's the whole point of them bringing in Turbo Pulsar. They wanted to elevate themselves to the best, and Hoxer, again, what a great setup for Alpha Kep. Mist, it was shot straight at him, had to register the save. Atomic now goes high, but there's Hoxer again on the backboard. It seems like he's got a transporter, he's everywhere at the moment. Atomic trying to mix up the play here. Alpha Kep picks up in midfield. Mist trying to block, it goes up high. J-Pal should get to the scene first. Indeed he does, to the backboard, but there's Mist again to shepherd it off to the side, down, and Atomic into the midfield.
You see Envy, the way they're playing, a little bit rushed. You see they're flying in to the ball when it's in the air, trying to get for an aerial catch, go for a 50. It's not been working out, except moving the ball well and controlling the field to some extent, not allowing Envy the space, not allowing them too much boost and denying them some resources. Alpha Kep now outplaying one, looking for the corner to get it in field. Mist in the way. Atomic will take over possession. Little bump from Mist to send him on his way. But Hoxer will be there to try and make things difficult. Alpha Kep now got a bit of a loose ball. He will be able to pick it up. Gets the 50 on Atomic now to take it over one. And towards net, will Alpha Kep be able to force it through? Mist, he does. And they take the lead at the halfway mark.
Get down and jam. What a slam from Alpha Kep. And on the stroke of half-time, RLCS a very happy man. XSET have come to play, and Envy, it's not to say that they've not looked good, it's just that XSET have looked as good. The kickoff going Atomic's way, but straight to J-Pal. Not the touch he was looking for, but looks to just keep it locked in the midfield. Everyone back now. Missed with a little dribble past one, but a little dribble past him then from J-Pal. Atomic back into the center. And Turbo Pulsar looking for the fake. Hoxer registering that save. Atomic up high. Maybe looking for Turbo Pulsar, but look at that. Alpha kept taking out Mist. Turbo with a whiff. And it's back into the midfield once again. Envy being kept very honest here by a strong XSET side. Alpha kept midfield towards net. Goes high. And Atomic to shepherd this now. A bump on the sidewall. Atomic trying to watch out for Hoxer, and Atomic again is off the backboard. It's to Turbo, and the far post is denied. I think it was a combination of woodwork and player there to deny him in the end, but still the result is the same, Aiden. 2-1 XSET.
Atomic coming now on the attack off that crossbar. It was looking like a dangerous attack, but the transition coming quickly from J-Pal as he tries to hook shot this one towards the post. Follows it himself. It's a 2-goal lead for XSET.
And nothing with Hoxer there either. J-Pal with the dribble. Alpha kept like a heat-seeking missile, making sure that Mist was not going to get there. Credit to Mist, he almost does. But daylight for XSET in game number 1. 3-1 with 1:40 left on the clock. Envy needs to wake up and quick, but J-Pal! Oh my goodness me! What is happening to Envy?
Well, Envy haven't really showed up here in game 1. Sure, the first goal came quickly for them, but ever since conceding, XSET have scored 4 unanswered goals. Hoxer, he does get the 1 assist, but J-Pal, you've got to give it to him. 3 shots, 3 goals, and he's created those off of solo plays. Envy struggling to contain it, but they do bounce back here. It's going to be another one for Turbo Pulsar.
Finally, a bit of bullying, a bit of steal from the offense. Mist basically doing to J-Pal what Alpha Kep did to him. gets him out of the way, gets him out of the play, opens up the passageway for Turbo Pulsar. Still 2 more goals to try and find in 90 seconds, not impossible, especially not if J-Pal loses possession like this. Atomic now up from the top of the ceiling, but has to get out of the play, ran out of boost, and Ox are just doing his diligence there. Alpha kept to intercept. And back with the man himself, Turbo Pulsar. The Swede taking this one out into the midfield. Towards net again. Atomic, that's not a great touch. A double commit from J-Pow and Hoxer. Perhaps if there was only one committal there, we could have seen 5-2 instead of what has remained the case, 4-2. 60 seconds left on the clock now. Hoxer still keeping this locked in the envy half, and so much credit has to be given to the entire team here, Aiden. Exet aren't just playing well in the offense. When it comes to wasting time off the clock, they are doing it beautifully. Envy can't play a strong way out until now with these high clearances in which they're taking a risk by going to the air anyway.
Well, they're tying up the ball, contesting it in the midfield. Exet really up in the faces of Envy at the moment. Exet trying to set up the upset. Hoxer here will send it wide. It's a bit of a heavy touch. Atomic sees the opportunity to try and bring it center, but J-Pow again from that backboard reads the play well, anticipates it, and plays that back downfield. But Exet at the moment, you do see when they get on the ball, they don't have too much of a plan. They're hitting it downfield, and you've got to be worried about that going into game 2. You want to make sure you're still controlling things, because what they did so well for the first half of this game was the way they moved the ball around, created space, and by doing so were able to dominate the field, pick up boost, and starve Envy a little bit. Envy have had a little bit more possession towards the end here and have looked a more threatening side, with Exet just handing possession over. They will take game 1. How much that means, we'll see as we do head into game 2.
I think too much shouldn't be read into that second half of the game, actually. Because honestly, when you're Exet, you're 4-1 up against Envy, the worst thing that you want to do is then think that you are playing down to a team, getting a bit complacent, trying to go for fancy flicks. Coach of Exet, captain of Exet, whoever made the call, good on you, because that possession, that basically like locking in of Envy into their own half is what limited their chances. And we look at that, only 6 shots on target for Envy, missed with not a single one, having to mount up 5 saves up against the absolutely outrageous offense from Exet. 13 on target. No wonder they scored 4. For me, it was just the perfect game plan from the We'll start the series slow, start to build up into it, but they know what Exet are bringing to the table now. And more importantly for me, Aiden, Exet know they can play this well against Envy. It's just a case of maintaining that form for another couple games now.
Absolutely. I mean, Exet, they here in game 1 demonstrate a little bit of dominance, and they take a 2-goal lead for the win. The thing is, can Exet keep replicating this, or do Envy perhaps have a few tricks up their sleeves? Are they able to adapt a little bit? Of course, they are the more experienced side. Turbo Pulsar, 4-time world champion. He's going to have been in these kind of situations before, and of course, you know, it is game 1, and in game 1, teams tend to try to figure each other out a little bit. Of course, these guys scrim, these guys see each other a lot, and you know, they meet up in ranked, all sorts of stuff. They know each other well. But when you come into this competitive environment, you have a plan, and you're trying to figure out what is my opponent's plan. And Envy spending that game 1, perhaps doing so, conceding the game, but now Mist opens up that play to Atomic very, very beautifully. And Atomic not able to do much with it.
Oh, Alpha Cap looking downfield. Look for J-Pow. That was on target, would you believe? And Mist puts up another save in this series. That's number 6 of the day. But so far it has been early Envy pressure at least, but keep in mind, Envy scored the first goal in that Exet series, and so it's not to say that just because Exet go behind, they're all of a sudden just going to lay down and roll over their bellies. Not at all. Hawks, a lovely infield pass. Turbo Pulsar reads it equally well, and now J-Pow to start from square one once again. Navigates his way past one, flicking it up for himself. There's a lurking Alpha Kep there, but Mist makes yet another save. Bit of a ricochet as it falls over to the far wall. Here's Atomic. And straight into the midfield, Hoxer misses. J-Pow doesn't, again looking to carry his team into the second half. Turbo. Infield, finds Atomic. There's Hoxer again on cleanup duty. Oh, a bit of a miscommunication on the rotation here, but Exet get away with it. Envy just not really playing at a good enough pace right now for me, Aiden. They need to play a little bit faster, because right now Exet look just a little bit more up for it.
Yeah, I mean, even there, Exet, I think, getting a little bit too involved with each other, getting very, very close. You saw the spacing, and yet Envy were still sort of forced into a corner. They were finding it difficult to play it out, and perhaps that's the way that XZ are doing it. They're trying to, you know, box them in and prevent them from being able to play downfield. And every time NV now do get hold of the ball, they tend to go straight forwards, almost in a straight line towards the opponent's net. Whereas you see XZ, they're putting more effort into switching from one side to the other. That uses the full width of the field and therefore splits defenses, stretches them a little at the moment. Though NV working it well. Turbo Pulsar down to Mist. The double commit coming out from Alpha, Kep, and Hoxer. Hoxer remains on the backboard, and perhaps a misplay there from Envy. Should have seen him up there. There's plenty of space in the middle. Envy perhaps not communicating the way they want to at the moment. That pinch over to Turbo Pulsar falls nicely. Mist goes up real quick off the ceiling. Hoxer again to sweep it wide over to J-Pow. Atomic just backing off and shadowing here, trying to buy some time for Turbo.
Yeah, Envy, the more I look at them, the more they seem a little happier to soak up the pressure, at least for now, looking to spring a counter-attack. They've seen a couple of openings in XZ's rotations, and perhaps that's what they're looking to try and exploit here as Atomic gets it locked down with J-Pow and Alpha Kep combining to stop it on the line. Bit of a cluster here in the corner. Atomic with the one fake. Atomic with infield pass, and Hoxer over to the far wall, but Turbo's going to keep it in enemy territory. Turbo Pulsar! Oh, what a play! 1-0!
That's just exactly what you need. This sort of inset of energy. The play from Turbo Pulsar off the ceiling just to go for a little bit different. Go for something solo. Why not? It's not been working the other way. Just get the shots on tight. You see XZ on defense. When they turtle up, they end up very close. Double commits start coming out. Spacing not so good. I think Envy are starting to pick up on that. That XZ end up coming a little bit too close towards each other, and therefore the moment they do send it wide and use the space out on the opposite side, XZ get a little bit stretched, and in that moment there, XZ not defending incredibly well. Of course, great work by Turbo Pulsar. It's a fantastic goal. They will be happy to set up on that 1-0 lead here in game 2 with a minute and a half remaining.
Again, Intercepts has been doing so much good on the defensive, looking to bring it into the offensive though. J-Pow's getting bullied by Atomic, did so well to pick up that save. I see the Envy Massive, they're saying thank you Turbo, as they always do. Turbo the GOAT indeed, but is he going to win you this game? Maybe so. Atomic looking for the bump instead of the extra touch. Wrong decision perhaps as Turbo goes up again. J-Pow on the backboard into the midfield, looking for that latch onto Alpha Kep. Atomic again intercepts. Hoxer goes to the backboard now. Still no way through from the backboard. Seems to me pretty simple, Aiden. The backboard isn't working for you anymore, except surely you've got to try and keep things low, especially with only a minute left on the board. You've got to try something different.
Oh, Envy now seemingly besieging XZ here. You see Atomic just backing up here, stalling the play. Does get a little bit in the way of this, but it almost works out as that falls for Turbo Pulsar. Envy starting to become a bit relentless. They've got plenty of possession, plenty of time on the ball. They're keeping it a lot closer. The touch is not so heavy. They're not giving over possession too easily, using the space a lot more efficiently here in game 2. Alpha kept looking for something with a lift, and it's a great block from Atomic down the other side. J-Pow has to sweep that one wide. Alpha Kep's not going to be able to get to it. J-Pow with a long clear will hand the ball over to Mist, and that's going to come back in sort of a ping-pong fashion.
Not exactly the rip-roaring return that Envy were hoping for, as the Hail Mary almost goes horribly wrong for XZ. Perhaps a full court carry, one last drive. Atomic's there on the sidewall, and it's going to be escorted back into the midfield. Atomic helps it on its way down, and it's still up in the air here, kept up by Alpha Kep. Turbo Pulsar finally kills the game, and from a very healthy scoreline for XZ, they now find themselves without a single goal on the board. The single goal in the game going to that man, Turbo Pulsar. Once again, though, it was the defense for Envy that was really the star of their show, I guess. And this time, not so much Mist, but Atomic and Mist combining. And more importantly for me here, Aiden, able to find that right balance between staying on the defensive, soaking up the pressure, and then striking that counter-attack, striking that lethality that we know Envy for so well. XZ had their holes, Envy shot for them, and they found them.
I think that something I saw Envy doing really, really well is when they have the ball in front of them, they don't always think, okay, ball is there, I don't need to hit it. I don't need to dribble it. I don't need to close the gap between me and my opponent. I don't need to start taking it towards their net. Instead, I'm going to bait Exet out. I'm going to make them come to me. That opens a gap in the rotation. It spreads the defense out. It forces them to come out because you can't just allow NV time on the ball. You have to go. You have to challenge them. And by doing that, with the delay of the play, NV create the space, create the opportunities. And it was the build-up to Turbo Pulsar solo play that allowed that space in the net. You see Exit, the way they're turtling up, the way they're getting close together, they end up double committing, they take each other out of the play. And of course, they defended very, very well because NV had a lot of shots, but it's not going to be enough when you do come under siege like that. You know, you can't do it all game long. NV now, they have a bit of momentum.
And wonderful to see. We mentioned the Envy Massive, but the Exet Massive here as well with their hashtag rep the set. Although there's not much set to rep, unfortunately. J-Pow with a huge error, the biggest that we've seen across the 2 games, really. And Envy have themselves a 1-goal lead in 10 seconds.
This was tough. J-Pow, a bit of a heavy touch into that corner. You see Envy sort of bearing down on them there, looking to put the pressure on. Alpha Cap did whiff the ball, and J-Pow, I think, was starved on boost and panicked a little bit in front of net. Decided to flick into the ball rather than keeping it close, going for a 50. NV will take these every day of the week. It's an easy 1-0 early in the game, and now Exet on a handicap.
Oh, that's lovely, though. Alpha Kep around the corner! What a brilliant play from Hoxer and Alpha Kep. You can see here, Turbo, he knows he's got to follow that ball, but Hoxer wins the race. Alpha Kep still in the danger zone. Just lies back and caresses it into the top beams. 1-1.
It's a great finish by Alpha Cap there. It's perfectly up onto that crossbar, puts it behind Miss, saw the direction Miss was going, saw the momentum he had, and thought he's not going to be able to stop in time. But that demo could cause some problems. Except they are level. NV coming onto the attack straight from the kickoff. Turbo Pulsar not giving Alpha Cap any time, gets caught in possession, and J-Pow has saved his teammate there with a save in the top left corner of the net. Missed going up for this one here in the midfield. Down to Atomic. Plays that to the backboard. Can he get the follow? Infield. No one's there. It was a great idea. Now J-Pow could be unleashed. Gets it over to Alpha Cap. He's still with it. Miss comes flying in. It's a bit of a kerfuffle there at the back from Team NV.
But they are playing faster, Aiden, and this is kind of what I was hoping for from them in game number 2. It obviously didn't materialize. They were quite happy once they hit that 1-0 lead to stick on it, but they are playing so much faster now, and Exet, now their quality, their overall team quality is starting to be brought into question. They do have it, certainly, and if they play like we saw in game number 1, then things are going to go marvelously, but Envy are turning on the Jets, and that is 2-1 for them.
Yeah, this is well played by Envy. They abuse the fact that Hoxer was in a bit of a no man's land there at the edge of the box. No one at the post, at the far end of the post. Hoxer got caught maybe unaware of the play that was materializing in front of his own eyes. Envy moving that ball very, very sweetly. Take a 1-goal lead again. Of course, they took the lead early on, were equalized, and it's going to be another equalizer. Hoxer making up for that mistake, perhaps took it a little personally.
Check out Miss, though, in the corner, bumping Turbo Pulsar, leaving Atomic on his own versus Hoxer, and the placement was supreme. But the second time in a row for Exet, they bite back 2-2. And this game ain't done yet. The backbreaker, game number 3, you get the feeling that if Exet were to stop the momentum of Envy in this particular game, things might look very rosy for them. Alpha Cap, they're trying to force it, sledgehammer their way through the middle of the park. Not happening on this occasion. Hoxer, lots of boost over the top of Mist. Trying to get the dunk on Atomic. Falls nicely for J-Pow, surely. And you can see Hoxer there trying to just cover him. But Turbo, again, doing so well to keep it locked here. Atomic now on target, surely! 3-2.
This was, again, just a little bit easy for Envy. Alpha Cap here, it's not a great first touch. You know, you got to send that down a little bit towards the ground, stay closer to it. The way he allows Turbo Pulsar to attack him, that forces it into the team, it pinches into the middle, and no one ready from Exet on that net. It's just fired home by Envy. Again, have a 1-goal lead. And Exet not seemingly able to take a lead. They're able to equalize, able to fight back. One thing we're seeing in this game is that they are playing faster. They're creating more space on the field for themselves, not turtling up too much, and they're keeping the momentum. We know average speed is so important in Rocket League. but they're yet to be able to take a lead.
It's a real slugger of a boxing match, isn't it? Right hook after right hook after right hook. And looking for the fakes there. Atomic wasn't to be baffled. J-Pow now again. But look, just taking a little bit too much time again and again and again. Now Envy are playing at a faster pace. Xset are starting to run out of answers. J-Pow, that's going to go to nowhere. Straight infield to Atomic, who decides to keep it wide, keep possession for the blue team. Hawks are over the top of two of them. Hawks are into the midfield. Doesn't connect with Alpha Kep and doesn't even get the 100 boost there. He's stuck there, Maroon there on 0 boost, waiting for his teammates to come up. Here's J-Pow, looking for the flick over one, trying to connect with Alpha Kep, but missed there with a loft. Now it's Atomic, midfield, looking for Turbo, who's a little bit too slow, but Atomic's there. It's off the post, it's off the bar, it's off the woodwork. RLCS lost his words, and how Envy haven't gotten the fourth is beyond me.
Well, lost your words. I think Xset almost lost their marbles. Envy will have been wondering how it's not gone in, and Xset denied them again. You think when Envy so confident they're going to finish that play, they almost left themselves completely open at the back. Xset weren't able to punish. Now they're still caught at the back. Another heavy dodge from Hoxer straight to the path of Turbo Pulsar, barred away by J-Pow. Alpha kept trying to continue the play. Xset finding it hard to find each other. Hoxer over to Alpha kept denied by Mist. Double commit coming out from Atomic and Mist here. Will it play into some dangers? J-Pow ties possession up in the midfield. Hoxer tries to take it over. Turbo Pulsar here. We've got 45 seconds left. Xset still chasing the lead. Alpha kept with a pot shot at target. Atomic reads it well. Keeps it away, but that's a great pass from the backboard. J-Pow is there, unable to finish the move though, and 30 seconds left. Xset looking suddenly a lot more dangerous, and it's gone wide. Can Hoxer finish it off the post again? And Iralik, I'm not sure if those were cries of excitement or cries of pure pain.
The answer is yes. I can't believe it. Well, if Envy were lucky... Oh, hello! Surely! There's your third with 12 seconds, not a moment too soon. Finally, the Xset pressure paying off after Envy were denied by the woodwork down the other end. I was thinking, gosh, there it is. Karma, Xset hit both posts. How close can you get? But that miss from Envy is going to come back to haunt them. 3-3, crucial kickoff. Otherwise, we head to overtime. Turbo and bumping J-Pow out of the way. There's Mist in a decent position. And Atomic latching onto it, using the upside of his car, trying to get that flip reset. Did eventually, but it's going down the other side now. Turbo surely just lets it drop to the floor, and we have OT in game number 3.
Loved that last minute of play from Xset. It was pure chaos. No real plan. Just throw everything at them, see what happens, and eventually Envy did crumble under the pressure. Hoxer now, can he find J-Pow? He's got him below. Great pass down. Alpha kept ends up a bit too close to the way, has to back off, but it was a good move at the start of overtime for Xset here. Envy perhaps slightly rattled.
All the way back downtown to Hoxer. And you can see Atomic there, literally chasing after him like a wolf looking for his dinner treat. Miss. And looking for Atomic. Oh, this is going to be crazy. Oh my god. Hoxer with a huge save. Unbelievable. Using the woodwork as well. Beautifully crafted move from Envy. And still they can't break through. Atomic to Turbo. And J-Pow now with the save. Huge defense coming out from Xset.
Oh, Xset clutching it up on the line. Tried not to fall off my chair when he managed to land back down on that ball. Fantastic save, but Envy are looking furious. They know they've missed a couple of opportunities. They've been curating chance after chance. Alpha kept trying to put some pressure on J-Pow to follow this one up. He's got Hoxer on, lurking in the danger zone, but he decided not to use him. And while it is yet to find a breakthrough goal, both teams have created great opportunity. Another save from Alpha kept on the line. Their goal line saves. Yes, we expect players of this caliber to make them, but you're doing it against Envy. They're reading it so well, Xset, getting themselves into good positions.
The problem is now, though, is that Envy is really starting to up their boost game. That's a beautiful pass. It's all to miss. It's all to miss. It's off the post twice. Twice he had the double tap and he still couldn't put it through. How many chances are Envy going to get? Turbo bumps out the way and
Oh.
There's your winner finally. You felt it was coming for almost all 2 minutes of that overtime. Envy onto match
You
point.
see that there? It's almost the embodiment of the frustration of Envy of not taking the lead earlier on. Turbo Pulsar sees the opponent, sees the ball, says, I'll take both of them with me, barrels through, and eventually Envy get their winning goal. But it did have to take 2 minutes of overtime. XSET are putting up one very strong performance here against Envy. Envy up onto match point now. XSET need a response. Do you think they're going to be able to pull one out of the bag here in game 4?
Yes.
Love to hear that.
I believe, you know what? I believe after watching that's one of the most entertaining games, like individual 5-minute games. I think we've seen all split. I was so enthralled by that. The fact that Envy had 16 shots on target, XSET mounting up 10. This is a battle. This is a real tumultuous affair between two teams just vying for every single piece of the field. The fact that Envy came through on that occasion, for me, speaks volumes of their overall quality. Missed so many chances, but for me, the unsung hero is actually the person with the least amount of points on the field. Turbo Pulsar there, some way behind everyone else, but the amount of interceptions he was making in midfield, the amount of interceptions he was making just as XSET thought that they were opening the door, absolutely crucial to his team's success. Another indicator that the points don't mean everything, folks, but in game number 4, the only points that matter is the one up there at the top of the scoreboard. Are Envy going to find themselves one final win to put the nail in XSET's coffin, or are XSET going to pull the zombie, rise from the dead, and find themselves in a game 5 thriller? 5 more minutes on the clock, Aiden. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Well, XSET, not the star-studded roster of Envy, but it's like Envy are up against 3 really big, strong players. It's a cold, rainy night on the field, but at the moment Envy have that quality to take another early lead, and if you're XSET, it's got to be so frustrating to be on a 1-goal handicap right from the get-go.
The woodwork was XSET's 4th player in that last game, and today it turned traitor. 4 minutes 44, 1-0 Envy. Oxa. And Atomic there with a miss. Oh, well readjusted. And Alpha kept fires wide. Maybe an opportunity early there for XSET to get one back quick. There's Atomic now to pick up the play. Alpha kept, good stop from Atomic. Back to him once more. Waylays the boost, going for the backboard hit. Goes for Turbo, 2-0.
I feel like I've seen this happen before with teams. You go and play a fantastic game, you take it to overtime, you play what feels like forever, those 2 minutes with the amount of shots that came on target, the amount of effort that went into it. Is that a bit of fatigue here in the series for XSET? Is that a moment where they go, oh, we've done absolutely everything, and Envy have still managed to find ways through? We've tried everything, done everything right, everything the coach has said, and yet we still take the L. Now we're fighting on our last life. Game 4, 2 goals down. XSET not keeping possession here. Alpha Kep will take it over to J-Pow. You see Alpha kept coming back through again, wanting to read that, but he was a little late to the ball and it's going to break down, and Envy again back in the possession.
Good news for XSET fans. Your team has got the lion's share of the game left. Bad news for XSET fans. Envy are looking lethal. Triple commit effectively. J-Pow. Turbo now finds miss. No, he doesn't. Alpha kept scurrying into the middle of that fray. And all 3 Envy players again very tight and close together here. Atomic, though, in field. Alpha kept forced to go back. And a bit of a team bump there from Alpha kept. A little kiss to just say, hey, listen, it's okay. We're all right. We're only 2 goals down. We can still do this. Is missed now. Doesn't even get past 1, but the progress still made for Envy. And just a nice exercise in time wasting. Nice demo on the backboard there from J-Pow. Alpha kept reaches it first. It's off the... Oh! It was off the backboard, and I thought that was going to be XSET's, but well read. And now down the other side, that is we'll call that a speculative pass from Mist, but he probably won't want to see that one back, especially not if Exet score on the return. It's down for Hoxa, and it's just staying here, just loitering just in front of the net, but never getting too close, it seems, Aiden, to really threaten.
Yeah, indeed. You saw that demo earlier from J-Pow on the backboard. It was so intelligent. It removes any backboard defense they have. However, you've got to give it to Mist, the reactions, to get up onto that backboard just as quickly as possible. Read the play very well, and Atomic here reading it again. Envy seem impossible to break down at the moment. Exet are throwing a lot at them, making it difficult. They're putting on a show. Down to Hoxa here. But Atomic has seen it before Hoxa could get to it. And down again on the counter-attack to the backboard. That dropped out from Mist, and it will find a way in underneath Hoxa. The 3-goal lead for Envy, and it may just be a little bit too far for Exet now.
You know, you've got to be wary when a light mist descends. Beautiful placement, great power, great find from Atomic. And this might be the mountain too tall to climb for Exet now. 3-0 down. And Envy's defense looking as strong as it has done all series. Turbo midfield, Mist trying to help it. See how aggressive Exet are going. They know they need to find one goal quick, but it might go the other way. J-Pow over to Hoxa. They're just trying to throw it into the midfield as best as they can. But Envy have shifted up a gear. Mist just waiting it out. J-Pow so cautionary, thinking, oh gosh, they're going to beat me if I lose this challenge. And this is really the massive momentum shifter for me in this particular game, Aiden. Envy have gotten inside the heads of Exet, and with just over a minute left, it's looking far too tall a task.
Oh.
Make that...
Turbo pulses there. Envy are just a well-oiled machine. They follow up, they trust each other, they know each other, they use the space on the field. When they're under pressure, they defend well, they understand where their teammates are going, where they're going to be. They read the play. Exet can put shots on, they can create opportunities. Sure, you can't easily break down an Envy defense that is playing so well. I bite my tongue because J-Pow does get one back.
Kickoff goal. Envy are going to be pretty disappointed with that one. Big miss from Turbo. And J-Pow with the cojones to stick it in the back of the net. But the problem is now, Exet, is that you've got exactly 60 seconds to find 3 goals just to take it to overtime. Simple maths will tell you that is a goal every 20 seconds. And with Mist putting up great saves like that again and again, along with Atomic, it just feels still like an impossible task. Lovely infield pass from Hoxa, but again, Atomic was reading it all the way. And the game management, oh, it's off the post. Oh, it's not going to go in, and J-Pow gets a demo now, fighting back to Atomic. The story looks so good for Envy right now. Maybe a final twist in the tail if we can find another Exet goal soon. It's a massive demo. There is going to be another goal. It's going to be a barnstorm until the end, 25 to find 2.
Exet just called in the airstrike there. Mist comes flying in, and there's only one man back for Envy, perhaps getting a little complacent there towards the end of the game. Well, I don't think they're too worried, but I would love to believe in the Exet comeback story. I already thought this game, this is their opportunity to upset. Now, Envy, it's a team that isn't going to go and underperform in a major like this. But Exet are coming very close.
Hello. Hoxa, you can see all 3 players there. Turbo going for the wrong one. 2v1 versus Mist. It doesn't matter how good you've been in defense. 2v1 is always an unfavorable scenario. Are we going to see the most sensational of overtimes? Hoxa going straight for the player instead of the ball, and that might be it, actually. Turbo, also J-Pow getting into the back for Turbo. Looking for it. It's coming down. Atomic's lying in wait. J-Pow keeps up. It's going to have to be a full court carry. Perhaps Atomic dunking it down. Still up. Still up, can you believe? J-Pow, and there's Turbo, straight to the floor, says no. Says no. Team Envy win 3-1 against Exet, but nobody can deny that Exet is a real player in the North American scene now. Hoxa, with 6 shots on target, should he have done better? Should the team have done better in defense overall? It felt they were perhaps a bit naive in those early stages, Aiden. Had they had that experience, which, as you rightly mentioned, Turbo does have, Could we have seen a different series? We are never to know, of course, but if I was XSET, I'd be quite happy with these three going into next season.
Well, I would be incredibly happy because I think Exit may have just took a couple of minutes off of Turbo's life expectancy there.
Oh.
You saw the way you dropped that ball. And I said, I've had enough of this. I'm getting too old for this. 4-time world champion. I don't want to be messing around with no more overtimes. And Exit, the comeback was there. And from the beginning of this series, I really wanted to see what they could do. Could they upset Envy? Would MZ get maybe complacent? But this is the major. You know, you might see it in a regional. I think you might see it in the grid. But when you come into the major, Envy are going to go, no, we're switched on. We play the best Rocket League we can all day today, tomorrow, and hopefully come away with a win here in the major going into the championship. And you saw the quality from their play. They looked like they could have been in trouble in game one, but the way they switched it on, turned it around, started using the space on the field a little bit more, efficiently and intelligently. They opened Exit up, forced Exit on a lot of the times to turtle up in defense and starve them. Exit, they looked like they were in a lot of danger. Had they come back, I would have been super impressed. The way that they played, still super impressed. But a very entertaining, thoroughly thrilling series from these two just to get the day started.
Such an enjoyable beginning to the C stream for us, the audience. An enjoyable start for Envy, of course, as they start their group campaign, except with a lot of positives to take forward. But how about this for a positive? FaZe Clan has taken down NRG in their first game, and they are up next on stream. FaZe Clan versus version 1 after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Rocket RB and our coverage of the NA Spring Major here on the Rocket RB. My name is Craftman, joined alongside for our next game on stream by the S-tier caster that me and Boyle rated on Tuesday, Digital Bacon. The only reason, by the way, that we only rate you S-tier is because of your name. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, yeah. We had great fun last weekend, of course, with the EU side of things coming over to NA. We were originally going to be on that last match, weren't we, Crafters? Then, just due to a little reschedule, a little bit of a jiggling about, we got put on this second match, and I've got to say I'm super hyped. V1 versus FaZe, considering what's just happened, you know, V1 going up to Game 5 against SSG, and then, of course, FaZe taking down NRG. This is looking to be a stacked match, isn't it? There's so much to play for these two teams.
Yeah, I cannot wait, and I think the guys on the desk in the pre-show said that this is, at least for us here on the Rocket RB, is going to be the match of the day. But we'll take you through a few of the results if you've just been watching us here on the Rocket RB. Don't worry, we'll keep you up to date with all the results of the games on the other two streams on Rocket League and UGC. If you want to watch those, hit the squad stream button below. But we've seen Envy take out Exit on our stream 3-1. Rogue beat Susquehanna Sonics over on UGC 3-1. Off stream we had SSG, as you mentioned, taking down V1 in a Game 5. And surprisingly enough, I think the most surprising result for me, Bacon, out of round 1, on the mainstream, FaZe versus NRG. FaZe, after losing, I think, let's see what the score was. It was 5-2 to NRG in game number 1, and then FaZe won the other 3 games. What do you make of that one?
For me, it was nuts. We were all watching that because, quite frankly, FaZe in game 1 were getting absolutely dumped on, weren't they? I mean, it's opened up 3-0 to NRG, and we all looked into it today and just went, oh, FaZe are having a nightmare. But the turnaround, they got 1 goal back, a little bit of confidence. Of course, NRG really kept on top of things there in game 1. And into game 2, NRG did look very convincing at the start. But FaZe just really turned it around. And, I mean, their back's up against the wall. You know, they're still fighting for those spots through to the championship. So, clearly, that pressure is giving them so much extra strength today.
Yeah, definitely. It's all throughout today. I think the biggest story, obviously, we got the seeding at the top of the league with NRG and Envy and all those teams battling out to see who's going to make the top seeds in the championships. But like you mentioned, it's the battle for 5th and 6th between FaZe, G2 in this group. Obviously, they're going to be FaZe and G2 are going to be playing on the mainstream in round 3, but you also got to keep an eye on Shopify Rebellion over in Group A as well. Who out of these 3 teams, and we'll talk about FaZe versus version 1 in just a sec while this game starts to get underway, but out of the 3 teams who are battling for those 5 and 6 spots, who do you reckon, 1, has the most chance of making it, and 2, who needs it the most?
So again, when you're looking at them, the points are all pretty much similar. We're at the majors right now, so you get a big boost over everything else. So everyone's really in contention. Don't get me wrong. It's 80 points between G2 currently in 5th, and then of course Shopify Rebellion in 7th. You then look back towards Alpine in 8th, and it's just not possible really. So going and because they're not here this weekend. So
It's one reason, yeah.
just straight up. So it's literally those 3 teams. And when you're looking at it right now, Shopify Rebellion have a big advantage over in Group A. But in Group B, I mean, when you've got FaZe and G2, this is super stacked at the moment, this Group B. So Shopify should have the advantage in the group stage, but that doesn't stop either of these 2 teams making it on through. But the big problem for FaZe right now is V1 in their way. Craftman, it is going to be FaZe in the orange, V1 in the blue, and already V1, nice little bit of early pressure, not pushing too much, but just looking to hound this in their opponent's half, just play that boost game straight off the bat. Beautiful stuff, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how V1 are going to take on this FaZe team, because we know FaZe for being this high-flying team, and I mean, taking down NRG in round number 1 in the way that they did, that's going to give them a lot of confidence coming into this game. A game that I think a lot of people, when you look at the teams, you think, oh, FaZe versus V1. V1 haven't been the most consistent team throughout not just the spring split, but RLCSX as a whole. You think FaZe are just going to walk away with this one, but you look a little bit more into the stats, Bacon. There's a reason these teams are 8th and 9th in the standings respectively, and the stats tell the story. This one is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people seem to think.
Yeah, and definitely V1, it's got to be said, on a little bit more of a comeback. Since losing Squishy on over towards NRG, V1, previously Cloud9, just haven't looked the same entirely. Con finally getting his foot in over on FaZe though. Since getting picked up by Peeps, that sort of like pressure to look for an AUG to actually its signs seem to drop away a little bit. But again, this could be the end of that period. And finally, they will pop off, already popping off today against NRG. AJ up in the ceiling, looking to get the grab pitch, but no, not able to get that one on target.
I mean, AJ, he's been the breakout star, at least in the last couple of months for FaZe, and obviously the peak before. He's been the top man in the team, one of the top players in NA, and starting to become one of the most feared players in North America as well. He's starting to become the high-flying shooter, the one that you don't want if you're the opponent of AJ, you don't want him to have the ball in his hands. And right now he's keeps the ball close to his chest down that right-hand side and let Gyro come in, but giving up in the middle, and Torment will take it back upfield. You feel FaZe to a lot of too much emphasis on funneling their offense through AJ? Do you think Gyro and Illusion need to step up a little bit more?
Yes and no. So by funneling through AJ, they become quite predictable. And actually, this game right now for both sides is very predictable. You take that last setup coming in from Gimmick, and right there, again, AJ with the shot, always looking. The pass was always going to AJ, and that's the issue. Gimmick up in the air has got potential here, up and over 1, but AJ getting there in the back lines is a little bit off target. Quite easy, but Torment has just snuffed that. Threading the needle here.
Just out of nowhere, Calm wins that clean off of AJ, and FaZe caught on the back foot, no idea where this is coming from, and Torment just picks his spot, 1-0.
So the issue there is Gyro stopped on that backboard to then jump on off. He needed to continue that momentum, but clearly he didn't think the ball was going to be so high. So that's just a reading of the situation, and Gyro's going to be kicking himself for that, but that's where the team game of Rocket League really comes on in. Everyone's going to be, look, just go, it's 1 goal, let's get back into this, lads.
Yeah, you just need to settle the nerves. I mean, the comeback against NRG was something to see. I mean, you see they're starting to get their eye on our FaZe and settling in against this very defensive team of V1 ever since they swapped out AXB after the fall split and brought in Com. Their saves percentage and their saves per game has gone up, just like that one from Torment. They went up from about 4.45 saves per game to 5.46. But Gimmick, he doesn't care about saves, he cares about goals. It's 2-0.
That's it. It's all well and good up in your saves, but at the end of the day, the team with the most goals win. And That's an interesting stat to actually pull on out there, Crafters, because generally in Rocket League, anyway, we see the teams that get the most saves are the weaker sides because they're pushed against their own half more. They're getting shot on more, and at the end of the day, eventually you're going to be able to break down the walls. So for you here, just can you like glean anything from V1 there and how they've been able to up their defense and work maybe off those counters?
It becomes more of a question of can you defend, get those save stats up, and then push it down the field, as you say, get those counter attacks. And I mean, in the fall split, of course, this goes all the way back to the fall split when you had AXB. Maybe a lot of teams thought, all right, we're just going to push them. They're not getting a lot of saves. And then all of a sudden, the save rates go up. They get big counterattacks. And these teams just aren't ready for it. And oh, big counterattack there between Gimmick and Com. Lovely link-up play. And it's 3-0 to V1.
Notice how each and every time Gimmick is just looking for this, not only with those attacks, but then also the playmaking scenarios like that. Just the midfield control from FaZe is too loose. They're too confident in themselves. They think they're pressuring, but notice V1 are always looking for those paths to work on around, and it's actually some really beautiful Rocket League.
Certainly is. Like you said, I fully agree. FaZe maybe just getting a little bit too overconfident, obviously riding the wave of adrenaline coming off the NRG series, taking off the second best team. No, they're number one in the region right now, behind ahead of Envy. I keep forgetting who's in front right now. Is it Envy or is it NRG? Yeah. But I'll tell you who's in front right now in this particular series. It is V1 coming out of the gates with a vengeance, and they take the first game, 3-0.
Yeah, forgive us Europeans when it comes to top of the rankings. We're just used to one team storming ahead, and then the competition after that. You know, here you got NRG only, and it's crazy to say it, 29 points ahead of Envy there, Craftman. That's ridiculously close to the top. So, again, both those teams are fighting in this major for that number one seed because it's more preferable. They've also got to be a little bit worried because Space Station, if things go terrible for them anyway, for, say, Envy or NRG, could usurp that spot a little bit up there. They're only 400 odd points behind. So, you know, if you drop out, you don't make it to the playoffs, then and say Space Station go on through and win it in the finals, then that could be usurped, right? And Rogue, of course, only a little bit behind. So Rogue probably looking to upset, get that chance of stealing away Space Station's spot, but it's realistically 400 at that point. Like, most of those top four teams are cemented. It just comes down to NRG and Envy trying to steal away from each other. But after that, like we said already, that's the next game up in the air. So it's a very interesting predicament a lot of these teams find themselves in. And my problem when it comes to NA is those four teams at the top are safe. And that's where I think a lot of the weakness for NRG in this group stage anyway came out of. They've already got the spot, so they tend to relax a bit. They'll come back in the championships and be absolutely nuts. But that's where, you know, there always needs to be pressure for NA teams. I always feel like, you know, seeing in as a European. But coming into this game too, this is where, up against NRG, FaZe stepped on up. They take that first game and sort of like throw everything at their opponents, but look very uncoordinated. Here in game two, I expect them to really turn that scrappiness up to 11 and find a lot of powerful goals just through their speed.
And I think FaZe as well, we're not expecting V1 to be really on this kind of form. And we were obviously the game that V1 played against Space Station, it was off stream, but we're hearing updates from throughout that game when we were sitting in the green room. And it sounded like V1 were in a fair bit of control, and I think it was like a nearly 6 minute overtime in game number. I would always said game number 7, game number 5. As Gyro just misses out on the opening goal here in game number 2. V1, they are certainly a team to. Obviously, they're not playing for much other than money and pride at this point, but they could be. In this tournament this weekend, making to play spoiler to teams such as FaZe and such as G2 as well.
Is there $100,000 on the line? More than that, actually, here in the majors. I'm being a dummy. So, a lot of money right there. And like I said, like you said, sorry, pride is a massive thing. Be the best, go into that off season, just
Ooh.
absolutely
Oh!
barnstorm, because that right there, finally FaZe finds one through, but they've not actually changed anything up. They've just got cleaner in their attack.
Yeah, and that's super clean pass between AJ and Illusion. I think it was Torment flying up for that one, and just a little bit too late, AJ knows he has the space to find Illusion down right in front of the goal, and right off a kickoff as well. AJ's got to get it from Gyro. 2-0 FaZe just like that.
Okay, now V1 are in a bit of a dangerous position again, whilst taking the lead quite comfortably in game one. It was off the back of defense. Now that FaZe are going to have confidence in themselves. Now that they've found a bit of flow, admittedly over the one goal, a kickoff goal just sort of adds a lot of morale to you. Doesn't really adjust much in the game, but you can definitely see that morale coming on through, because that is BEA beautiful crafters.
Lovely stuff from FaZe, and you said it in the NRG game. This is where FaZe started to level themselves up, and they are certainly stepping up to a level above version 1 right now. And we said maybe FaZe got caught out in game number 1. It's V1 in that position right now, getting caught out themselves 2 minutes in, and it's a 3-0 lead for FaZe. This is the FaZe we know they can be. And if it weren't for the sort of slight inconsistencies throughout the spring split for FaZe, they might even have been confirmed already for the championships, but they have to play this weekend, as we've been saying, get a better ranking than at least Shopify Rebellion, and confirm themselves into that championship for a crack at $400,000, share of $400,000, I should say. And they're certainly playing like a championship level team right now. How do you rate them halfway through game number 2?
So far, FaZe, as long as they can keep in line with one another, you notice every now and then they get a little bit loose. The comms just drop on off ever so slightly. It's almost like they don't know what their teammates are doing, and that's when they fall, because they play such an aggressive style. Look at these demos coming on out. Look at the number of interceptions, the number of 50-50s they want to go in for. FaZe have to be in touch with one another at all times, because if you're not, that's when you sort of step over, you rotate into each other, and those are the issues. You want that constant pressure. Illusion chasing up afterwards, just to put it at the backboard, allows his two teammates to rush back, get boosts, and then continue that pressure going. FaZe right now are playing well, but the problem is V1 are going to be able to adjust this. They've now seen FaZe finally turn on up. They had that game 1 already in the bag. So game 2, notice how this constant pressure is starting to look at not as dangerous, and that's because V1 are making those adjustments. They're playing with more space to try and force FaZe to shoot from a little bit further on out, thus giving V1 more time to respond.
Thing is, though, version 1 haven't really responded. No shots on the board at all for them. 3 saves, though, 2 from Torment, 1 from Gimmick. Just FaZe giving absolutely no quarter in their own half, and Gimmick's a little bit too far up. He's going to let AJ come in for this now. Illusion off of the wall. Well played by Gimmick, well recovered. Then that ball back into the FaZe half, but really, in reality, this game 2 is over with just under a minute to go, and a 3-0 lead for FaZe is a very comfortable one. And you think that's the game plan going forward for FaZe? Just get these 2-3 goals quick off the bat in the first half of the game, and then just sit back and play defense, or expect, now, version 1 are not going to be pushing you all that much.
Version 1 like to control their half of the pitch. They don't want you in there. Their pressure when they put up isn't so incredible. But when you look at FaZe on the opposite end, they want to keep on pushing. They want to keep on pressuring. So this is actually a really nice game, because both teams flow into each other quite nicely. The big takeaway now is, whilst FaZe showed up in the first half massively, the second half, FaZe had just not worked. And again, that's all down to V1 making those adjustments. Gimmick here just allowing it to roll on, playing those mind games. Game 3 is going to be the one where we see whoever wins there is going to win the series. I'm calling it now, Crafters, purely
so?
because that's going to, you're going to see both teams at their fullest right there. They're coming into today looking warm. They're pretty hot and in form, which is great to see, especially, you know, because it's the majors. But this is going to be absolutely a nuts one because they've just got such a good play style to play into each other. Because whilst they're not playing the same game, not looking for the same sort of plays, one team's happy to allow that pressure to come on in. They're going to try and draw FaZe in. So you're going to be able to see FaZe go for some nutty plays. But then also, version 1 have some incredibly crazy counterattacks. So this is Rocket League sort of at its peak as a viewing experience.
It's been great to watch so far. Just fast-flowing Rocket League here in this FaZe versus version 1 game. Easy for me to say. But I can agree with you on this one, Bacon. I think this game number 3 is going to be the pivotal one, because if V1 get down 2-1 here, FaZe are just going to be tearing them apart and rolling on. I mean, they've won the 2 out of the last 3 matchups between them, and I think even when they were the Peeps, they went on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak against version 1 throughout the course of RLCS. 7 game winning streak even.
Then
so
V1 1-1 and Peeps won the most recent.
Oh, there you go. Well, FaZe won the most recent.
Well, FaZe won the most recent, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Peeps, FaZe, whatever you want to call them. Never sleep on them though. That's the main thing. That's what. If you ever meet Gyro, he'll tell you never to do that. Never sleep on them. But right out of the gate here, Bacon, in game number 3, version 1 do seem like a rejuvenated team. They seem more willing to go downfield and more willing to go on the attack. No shots as of yet, but Gimmick looking to pile the pressure on, but Gyro deals with it so well. Up to AJ, around the corner, and now Com, who's been the defender really on version 1 throughout the entirety of the spring split and the entirety of the winter split as well, you feel. After like I said, after bringing in Com after the AXB,
Gimmick gets this.
They have been. Oh, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it, Bacon.
It was the setup. It was always going to be a setup towards Torment. You saw Torment coming on through, and they responded so well. V1 right now are in the driver's seat. Whilst they are playing quite a nice defensive game, I'm saying defensive because they only ever have one player on the ball. Their passing plays are always going to come off the backboard here unless they are able to find a player to cheat up super deep. But they're trying to just limit the amount of boost FaZe have. FaZe, with Gyro up in the air, is so clever there to just try and stall this ball in the blue half, trying to allow time for FaZe to take control of those midfield pads. This is not the game I was expecting. That all comes off the back to V1 just looking to play a somewhat controlling pressure play and force it into opponent's half and wait for the moment. Such great patience coming out from this blue side.
Certainly so, and I think you need to be patient at this stage of the game, where FaZe are just going to be shoving this ball right down your throat and expecting you to respond to it in that way. And what I was going to say as well, Bacon, was you said Gimmick was going to get that ball. He didn't. You've lost your predicting privileges, but Com gets that instead. Halfway through this game number 3, and it's V1 ahead.
Beautiful. Once again, V1 doing what they do best. Quick counter plays. The fact that that ball travels from one end of the pitch to the other in 3 seconds is nuts. What's even more nuts is how coordinated that is, because it requires not only the clearance / pass on out to the second man, but then the redirect on target. V1 have been absolutely drilling those out.
So I think there's a similar goal. I think it was Com that scored it as well in game number 1 for version 1. It's that pass from the backboard down to Com, bang upfield and right into the heart of the net. Now FaZe, we've not really seen their defense tested all that much, but now Com has a goal, 1-on-1 with Gyro, wins out the challenge, but can't sneak it under the crossbar. FaZe will have possession now. AJ and Torment playing the FaZe game, cutting that out in the midfield, and Gimmick so quick to this ball. Former Cloud9 world champions, Gimmick and Torment, they know each other so well. They've been an outstanding duo throughout the course of this RLCSX season, where they have been winning or losing, but a minute and a half to go now. All the pressure on FaZe. Gyro tries to find AJ and cut out by Com.
Oh, Gimmick there, stepping away, taking the boost, calling Torment on in. And Torment's just throwing that at net to be a threat, just to make sure that a defender's going to have to go for it, because it allows time for them to now try and hold on to the midfield line. But the demo really helped on out. Going to be interesting to see how FaZe responds to this. Only 1 minute left in it. And again, they're just sticking to a lot of pressure, trying to jump across net, get a bump, get a demo. They're just not able to find anything right now. V1 have got everything locked on out.
Oh!
Wow!
Oh! Those two shots came thick and fast there, Bacon, and a blink and you would have missed them. Blink and V1 wouldn't have saved them either. 45 seconds to go, and V1 proving what their defense is worth here. Gyro 1-on-1, 2-on-1 with Torment and Gimmick, and will deny them both as well. Round the corner now, FaZe upfield. Gyro, empty net, Torment to deal with. He cuts it out immediately. And now FaZe, the quickness starting to come into effect. They're pushing this ball right into the version 1 half. But version 1 say, no thank you, sir. Boom that back upfield. And with 20 seconds left, this is all they have got.
Yeah, it's all hands battle stations right now for FaZe. DEFCON 1 try and turn this into a goal. That's a good block up in the air. Illusion wanting to just punch that towards net. But in the end, runs it into Com, who's slowing things on down, allows Gimmick to just step this away. And Gimmick will find the floor. V1 take a game 3, go 2-1 up in the series. And well, Crafters. V1 looking on fire. I'm now just scared and so curious to see how SSG were playing, because V1's defense is like top class right now.
Certainly so. I mean, you look at that, 4 saves from Calm, 1 from Torment, 2 from Gimmick. I just want to see this field domination stat that we have here in the Rocket RB. I always like to look at that because it shows how often the ball was in a certain half of the field. 58% of the time the ball was in the version 1 half of the field. That's what the stat you saw on the bottom of the screen there. So FaZe had the possession, had the field position as well, but they just couldn't get these shots. Well, they got the shots off plenty, but the version 1 defense was just there every single time to get it. This defense, I mean, I sung the praises before the match even started. Their defense is starting to come to fruition yet again here, Bacon.
Yeah, they're playing some really like efficient Rocket League right now, and it almost feels closer towards.
I like efficient.
Yeah, it's getting closer towards like football or soccer, sorry, for the American guys at home, where it only counts for that 1 goal, maybe 2. If you get 3, you're having an absolute class game. That's because you only need those opportunities. You're trying to just stall out your opponents, but you can see Gimmick and Torment still linking up. You've got Com quite far back. He's now going to be looking to come into this, as natural rotations do, but they're still being a threat when they need to. Just trying to really move FaZe on around and make them uncomfortable in these early halves, which is a great opener, just because they're going to play first to try and take control of the boost, try and take control of the pitch. They lose that a little bit so they can go to plan B. It means they've got versatility in their game, and that is spectacular.
And getting FaZe rocked a little bit. Not something we see too often, but what's something else that might be rocking FaZe a little bit now as well. We mentioned the battle between them, G2 and Shopify Rebellion is another couple of saves from version 1. Keep that at bay. FaZe will not like to see that, and they also won't like to see that G2 have just swept Space Station Gaming. 3-0 dominant win there for G2. And obviously G2 play FaZe next, and that's going to be over on the main twitch.tv/Rocket League stream once this one is done and dusted. I think Shopify Rebellion as well, they're 1-0 up on Envy over on that main stream, although Envy is 3-0 up in game number 2, so we'll keep an eye on those for you and keep track of who is going to be where, because we're going to be talking about this FaZe, G2 and Rebellion rivalry, you would say, throughout the course of today. It's going to be interesting because those 3 teams could end up in a position, or at least G2 and FaZe could end up in a position.
Shopify Rebellion is a tomorrow discussion. Because
what I'm saying is, what I was going to say is they could end up playing Shopify Rebellion first thing tomorrow. That'd be huge.
Would be indeed. Today is shaping up very nicely, like you said. We've got everything in the oven. We're starting to see the day rise. I'm licking our lips. Can smell it already, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Torment, good 50-50 as Gimmick's going to get high on this one. Wants to get the second touch. Does get blocked. Com's coming on in, but backs out of it. Very wise.
Good
Saw
pass.
AJ on that and knows he's got to be in net for the shot. The bump coming up.
Oh,
That's an own goal by Gimmick!
Oh, feels bad, man, Gimmick. Oh, it was set up perfectly for Illusion just to send this in the heart of the net. I thought it was going wide. I think Gimmick thought that too. He was going for the hit into the corner, and it just rebounds in the worst possible way. What a way to concede the first goal. Exactly 2.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go here in game number 4. And I think your prediction as well, Bacon, about whoever wins game 3 is going to win the series. It's looking a little bit edgy. We could be heading to a decider.
Hey. Trust me? Trust me. Okay.
Okay, I'll trust you. I'll trust you when it happens, but look at this. Oh, is this going in? Oh,
It's
Gimmick.
fine. I'm not in pain right now. Com's not in pain. What a block that was on out to get the clearance, get so much space. Torment taken past by AJ, who's on an absolute tear.
Oh, AJ,
Gimmick going to be able to pick it up. Lucian just a little bit too loose once again in the corner with Com this time. Past 1, not going to be able to get past 2, but he was looking for the block. And this playstyle, V1 just looking to read their opponents, is such a risky game, but when it works, oh baby, does it work.
Oh, it has been working to a T. And keeping AJ at bay, who's been one of the best players, according to Octane GG in their rating system, 3rd best in North America throughout the spring split. He's been one heck of a player. And he make one heck of a play here. Gyro trying to clear the tracks for the AJ train to come on through, but Torment slams the brakes onto that. 1-0 still in FaZe's favor, but no goal scored by FaZe, you could argue, as Gimmick put it in his own net. But a minute left, version 1 need to get a move on and start moving this ball upfield, because they've only had 4 opportunities. None of them have been converted.
Oh, Com there. Good plays by Gyro, who has just been the foundations to FaZe right now. A true cornerstone of this squad. Without him, oh, the goals will be coming thick and fast from V1. He has just been an absolute rock. But the problem is right now, it's V1 who've got to get rocking and rolling here, Crafters. They're throwing the ball towards net. Gimmick, another attempt, but that's met easily by Gyro. With so much space on the clearance. Gimmick with a back pass on over the Torment, throwing it back into the mixer. But no cement made. Com has to dart back, and Torment's in a very dodgy 1v1. Good follow-up by Gyro. He's going for a second touch. Maybe
no way!
A third.
Oh,
no, the
Gyro.
fake. And AJ's on it, but he's put it too high.
I don't think it's going to matter though, Bacon. It's down in the corner here with 0 seconds left. V1 need to keep this one alive, and they will not. 1-0. The last score in this game and in game number 3. We've had 3-0 V1, 3-0 FaZe, 1-0 V1, 1-0 FaZe. What's going to happen in the decider? It's game 5 upcoming.
Yeah, it's a good game of tug of war here, back and forth to me to you, Rafters. And I've got to say, I mean, the prediction for V1 to win is still on. I'm just saying that. But
all right, okay.
I love this. This is Rocket League at its best. You don't need tons of goals. Don't get me wrong. I'm a simple man. Like, I see a goal explosion, I get excited because you know, it looks cool.
That's why
right?
you're sitting here. That's why you're sitting here alongside me.
That's the only reason I came commentator. I was like, I just want to see goals. But at the end of the day, there is such an interesting mental game going on right now, because not only is there so much strategy here, but there's counter strategy, because these players know each other inside and out. Like we said, a thorough 9 series played so far in RLCS X, and that's just RLCS X. The game plan for FaZe, once again with this early opener, but look at AJ coming off the ceiling, but the fake is dirty.
I think everyone on the field and everyone watching was thinking AJ was going to get that double touch, because he always gets the double touch on those kind of plays.
He's going to go for it. He's going to get it.
Exactly. Absolutely. And no one expects him just to... I don't know if he missed it deliberately. We'll say he did, and then Illusion just puts it right in the back of the net. Lovely stuff from FaZe, but Gimmick looking to respond, looking for a double touch of his own, but Torment follows it up. 25 seconds in, and it's already one apiece.
Oh, baby, we've got ourselves a game 5.5. Gimmick there, putting it close into the wall, but because he chases on up, Gyro's got to go for that close post. Gimmick's not going to be able to shoot there, but Gyro doesn't know that. When you're pre-jumping, when you're predicting everything, you don't have information. All you've got is emotion, and you've got to throw the hecking car at the wall. not going to come off, and that's why Torment comes in with the mop and bucket to clean it up.
Oh.
AJ not able to convert that.
Illusion.
But
Oh, is
Illusion
it saved?
denied
He got
by
it!
Torment in the net.
Oh, absolutely brilliant from version 1. It's not out of the woods yet. Illusion slowing things down. Calm back to the corner. And now Gyro following this one up, making sure Calm can't get out of his corner. But he's found Torment on that right-hand side. Backboard pass. And Gyro clears it away. But now version 1 have a little bit of a rally going now. AJ gets a pass from the right-hand side to the, or from the left to the right, excuse me. Oh, it's passes on passes on passes here, Bacon, and it's all well defended and being contested right in the trenches, right in the middle of the field. That is where this series and this game is going to be won, Bacon. FaZe have really been showing to me throughout the course of this series that they have been the better midfield team, but version 1 are now starting to catch on to their game.
We
Illusion!
always
Oh,
knew.
Gimmick!
Damn, that's incredible. We always knew this was going to be a war for those final two spots, sorry. And World Champions Field is turning into a battlefield like no one's ever seen before.
Oh,
Howitzers
Illusion, mate.
flowing in, left, right, and center, close shots, but nothing going to be able to touch the back of the net. Good connection coming on through from Illusion just to intercept it, throw off to the side. Really gets his teammates out of trouble there.
Oh, take a breath, everybody. Coming up for halfway through this game, and Calm, oh, he doesn't want to stop and smell the roses here on Champions Field. He just wants to slap it into the net. But I think now we've just got a moment of calm here, Bacon. Everyone can just calm themselves, getting ready for the final 2.5 minutes of this game, number 5. Now Calm looking to bump AJ out of the way potentially, but doesn't make contact with the ball or AJ himself. Version 1 have a good chance here. AJ misses. Let's Calm come in for this one. But Illusion is there to back him up. No boost left in the tank for him. Will allow Torment to come in. Now Calm, zero angle from the backboard. He stays down for Torment. And 2 saves in a row for FaZe. Looks like the roles have been reversed. We've seen this on the version 1 side, Bacon.
That we do. Calm, reading for the waterfall, but Illusion up high, got there first.
Oh,
Such a
Gimmick!
Good read. I remember back in the day when waterfalls were brand new, no one could read them. Now, well, it's just another easy day at the office, isn't it?
Oh, it's been great to see the evolution of Rocket League throughout the course of RLCSX and throughout the course of this series as well. Now FaZe starting to go into their offensive phase. Now Gyro, half tank of boost, one man to beat. Gimmick's there, blocked by Illusion, and in it goes. FaZe ahead with a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, beautiful control here by Gyro. Always going for the top of the bin, and Gimmick, because he's coming in flush with it, just cannot get any power behind it. So brilliant follow on up, and Illusion, I don't want to call it just yet, but that's got the feeling of a game-winning goal as long as FaZe keep pressure high.
The way that's been going for the last minute or so, Bacon, you feel FaZe have got it in the bag. Anything can happen in the next 70 seconds or so. Will version 1 be able to break out of their half, or will FaZe just put the nail in the coffin right here and go up by 2? Looks like that's the way they want it. The way it might end up happening, but Calm and the rest of version 1 might have something to say about it. Back into the FaZe half of the field. Now Calm beats out Gyro. Now over to Gimmick. Where's Torment? Oh, Gimmick can put it in himself. Maybe he had another flip left. I think he needed a flip reset off the backboard there. I don't think he got it, or at least used it. And now Gimmick, no boost in the tank. Got to be pushing now for version 1.
On with a big cheat up there, but an easy clearance to come on through from Gyro. And where V1 had sent 2 players into that orange half, there's no one really back to just be able to block it at that 25% line.
Oh.
V1 have one more play left in this, and where they're going pretty predictable. They're going slow, they're going high in the air. You can send players out to meet with it. Gimmick,
Gimmick! Torment! Where's Calm? Oh, he's
not going to be able to connect. Calm can keep this up in the air. He's got tons of boost still left in the tank. Looking to set that up for Gimmick, but AJ,
that's it.
What a save. And that has confirmed the game for FaZe.
Oh, what a series of play right at the end there. that really could have gone either way. If Gimmick could have just slid into that ball, it would have been in the back of the net. We might be still sitting here in overtime, but no. FaZe close it out with a flurry of saves, and they beat version 1 at their own game, and that has been defense, defense, defense for FaZe. 8, 9, 10 saves for FaZe at the end of that one. I think that's the most saves, or the one time that they won out the save battle in the course of this series. And what a series it has been. Version 1, you feel that any other day, any other time, they could have snuck the win there in game number 5, but they're not to be. They go 0-2 in the group so far.
Yeah, but look at Lucian there with 7 shots just through his name, and of course 1 over towards Gyro and 2 to AJ. Lucian stepped up in that last game as not only a defender, but then also a striker to finish things off. So that was a crazy little adjustment. And again, that goes back to my point of where AJ is very clearly the ace of the squad. He's way too predictable and easy to block on out. So Lucian stepping up as the second man is great. Gyro, of course, is always so consistent and so foundational to the squad as well. So you can easily have him as the third man. So it basically just turns into AJ and Lucian swapping roles a little bit. But the interesting part of this now is over in Group A, V1 are at the bottom craft, 0-2. FaZe are up the top, 2-0. Things have gone mighty well for FaZe, and by most accounts, 2 wins, because of course 4 out of the 5 teams go to the playoffs. That could be FaZe secure into tomorrow.
It very well could be. I mean, you look at the general NRG, they've not played here in round number 2, but they're 0-1. They play V1 next in round number 3. So V1, they've got a big task on their hands if they want to stay up here in the North American Spring Major and stay out of that dreaded drop zone, because we will lose one team from each group at the end of today for the top 8 to go on to Championship Sunday tomorrow. But good for FaZe Clan to get that win, go 2-0, as you say, keeps them in the hunt for that 5th and 6th spot alongside G2. And the interesting thing for me as well, Bacon, is FaZe and G2 play each other next over on the mainstream. I cannot wait to watch that game. But right here on the Rocket RB, we will take a short break. After the break, you will see Rogue versus Exit after this. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to North American Spring Major. I'm Jam here with Lacto as we're bringing you the third out of the 4 games of the day. It's going to be time for Rogue versus Exet. Of course, we have just seen FaZe Clan and Version 1 compete in their series just a moment ago. Another Game 5 matchup for that one. Again, nobody was surprised that Version and FaZe went the distance, and that was quite a series, Lacto. But for both teams, well, FaZe Clan is still fighting for that top spot to get to the North American Championship. For Version 1, seems like it's just a matter of the pride, and coincidentally, for Exet in this matchup, it's also a matter of the pride.
Yeah, it certainly is tough. You talk about Game 5s, and the first thing that comes up is always Version 1, and how typical they would lose in Game 5. And like you say, Exet are on the edge, but they're not on the edge of glory, because they did indeed also lose in Game 5 in their previous matchup. That was off stream against the Sonics. A bit of a painful experience for them. I'm starting to feel bad for Exet, Jam. They just seem to have a habit of losing by 1 goal. All of their losses in that series against the Sonics were a 2-1 loss. I don't know if that's a cursed scoreline for them now. Not sure if they're just going to get absolutely terrified if this happens against Rogue. I mean, I'm worried that it might not be close. I'm hopeful, and I'm really back in Exet. But Rogue, they look kind of in form. You know, of course, they even beat the Sonics earlier. And if the Sonics have beaten Exet, then unless we're talking rock, paper, scissors logic, it doesn't look too great.
Well, there was a chance for a couple of upsets. One upset has already happened off stream with FaZe beating NRG in Group B. But over here, Exet is sort of with their backs against the wall. On the other hand, though, our league at the very start of the show has favored Exet as to be that one of the surprising teams to maybe pop off. And as you said, Exet is one of the top teams in North America when it comes to these incredibly close games, 1-goal games, or just matchup that just goes head-to-head, toe-to-toe. They are masters of that. Unfortunately, that not necessarily is showing in the form of big wins, but they have indeed qualified for this tournament through the great wildcard system. They performed exceptionally well during that tournament, and as a result, they still deserve their place here. The only problem is, together with Susquehanna Sonics and Version 1 and Group B, these 3 teams are expected to be demoted, or rather eliminated during the very first day as selected by the fans earlier. So for Exet, there's still a chance. They only need 1 win. I was looking at the history of the other majors through the spring split, and as it stands, 5 teams have made it on a 1-3 record. And so there's still a great opportunity for Exet to either grab a win here or later on versus the Shopify Rebellion. The only sort of downside is that even though out of those 5 teams that made it to the playoffs after all that 1-3 result, only one of them has made it to the semifinals and lost there in the end. Still, that was a great result. That was Oceania's LG Direwolves.
I think the problem as well when you talk about that is, yes, they certainly can get it on 1 win, Jam, but all 4 other teams in the group right now in Group A have already got a win. Exet are lagging behind, unfortunately, and it's going to be a tough one here against Rogue. Credit to them. You're talking about the grid performance, and yes, they did beat Rogue in the grid, but most recent matchup, and of course the most recent regional event 3, was a sweep for Rogue. So as an Exet fan, you'll certainly be hoping for that not to be a repeat here, as Game 1 looks as if it is on the cards. And yeah, maybe Exet can get out of the group with just 1 series to their name, but I'm starting to think that you'd really not want to leave it to the last series. I'm really thinking they need to take the action here and now. Hoxer, JPal, and AlphaCat, it's going to be one hell of a job. Let's hope they can do it here.
Well, with Exet is always close, so I wouldn't be surprised if they leave it until the last possible moment, perhaps eke it out. But first, they need to do something about Rogue. They need to do something about that man on the top. First killer, undeniably one of the really revelations of the whole season. The star player to maybe at some point even rival the class of Justin and the rest. I feel like already by this point, First killer is the player that is spoken of in the same fashion as Justin, but the first goal comes in from none else that Turo, as Rogue just out-pressured their opposition in the attack.
Yeah, he certainly wanted a piece of the limelight. The less we talk about the Exet defense there, the better. To be fair, JPal nearly recovered in time, but I think AlphaCat basically just got rugby tackled by the goalpost, unfortunately, for him. And it's not the ideal note to open up on for Exet, but better early than late, as you say. And what a save from JPal, a double touch off the inside of his own post to deny that man you were talking about, first killer. And to be fair, avoiding the immediate 2-0. could have been disaster averted for now.
Well, let's see what Exet can do in this series. Obviously, we've seen them earlier on today in their very first matchup versus Team Envy. And that was, again, it was an incredibly close series. That a 3-goal comeback that really did not happen in the end of the final match of the series. Exet do have a fight in them, that's for sure, do have quality. Again, the Titan, that is the Team Envy, is nothing to get scuffed at. But feels like to me that in that series, Hoxer was a little bit absent. I would really pinpoint Hoxer as the best player on Exet, really. And I don't feel like he was necessarily impeding, or rather impacting the series as much as he could have.
Now, I think that's fair enough. I mean, I really did, as you say, when we were talking about Exet earlier, it did highlight Hoxer as well. I think it's fair to say when they look at their best, it is when Hoxer looks at his best. That's no discredit to J-Pow and Alpha Kep. Maybe it's almost a double-edged sword in that sense. And to be fair, sometimes it can look marvelous. Even today in that NV series, they opened up with a massive 4-goal tally in the first game, but they just didn't end up having the stamina to keep that performance going. It was always going to have to be a mountain of a climb, but at some point, and especially when you're in a major, you're going to have to pull some of them off. And this is an exact same similar series, but they've not got the hot start to open things out. They're a goal down with 3 minutes on the clock and a good shot there, but first killer on the goal line is going to make the save, and it's unfortunate, but as long as they can keep up this offense, Exet certainly stand in with a fighting chance. And a loose touch from Turinturo could be the thing that lets them back in it, and what a finish from Alpha Cat.
You can see that the Exit have been setting up this scam for a while now, just going more and more into the side of Broken here finally. Alpha clear that wasn't as successful for Rogue as they were expecting. Exet just combined all of their powers, and Hoxer does what he does best for his team. He sets up his teammate best in the league so far in terms of assist, or at least in a spring split. He does it again, high game. And honestly, Exet have been looking better and better the longer this game went. Rogue were not allowed a second goal quickly. And while the ball right now returns to that side, and Turintaro, you could see him waited for the last possible second, but Alpha Kep denies that mind game.
Yeah, you gotta respect the patient shot, but Alpha Kep now making a difference at both ends of the field here, and the shot's gonna come through, banging down off the crossbar, but the clear there likewise. Just wanted to talk about the equalizer there for Exet. Of course, you'd expect better of a player of his caliber in the case of Turinturo, but it was unfortunate the bounce that ended up becoming a loose touch of a clear hand. I need to maybe pay attention to this double touch setup. No, I don't. No danger here, guys. Don't worry at all, because with that bounce that ended up being loose, as the wall becomes the post near the goal, it becomes steeper and steeper, the bottom curve, that usually the ball would roll up, or at least bounce out, in that case more softly. But because it bounced out so flat, his touch ended up just bouncing straight back off the wall, and that's what allowed the angle for Alpha Cat to find the shot. It's harsh, but at the top level, those are the small differences that make the difference. And right now, it could be game deciding here, as we're kind of headed to silver gold territory. And we talked about really wanting to open up strong for Exet here. One goal will almost certainly be the difference, but as we mentioned, as I did indeed, Jam, it's looking like it could be a scary 2-1 that didn't work out for them against the Sonics.
Oh, well, we're still observing that close game, that Exet love, hate, whatever it might be. They're currently experiencing it. Turintaro could not do this last time, does it on this attempt. And honestly, for me, this was an even weaker attempt at it, but since J-Pow could not make the connection, and Alpha Kep was in no position to save its top right corner, well, that's for Turintaro, top left corner for the defense of Exet themselves. That was untakeable. Slow, a bit wacky, most importantly, unsavable to make it 2-1 for Rogue.
Yeah, a very satisfying finish there, making up for mistakes down for the equalizer there, and it's a lovely 2-1 lead now for Rogue, as poor J-Pow, like you say, couldn't quite reach it on the backboard, just a little short on boost supply there. He's going to get it visit into the center there, but first killer patiently positioned. He's going to be able to clear that one away, no problem. 50 seconds is the time on the clock for Exet to try and find an equalizer here, but it's going to be tough as the midfield is being penned in. But the loose touch comes to Alpha Kep, and he puts it over one. Has he got it over two? No, Turinturo. Fantastic recovery there to pop that above the crossbar, and first killer again uncontested on the ball. There comes a point where you just don't bother contesting him because maybe he just is a little bit too fast sometimes, but really kind of have to keep his ego in check there and break that confidence. And what a way to do it than just J-Pow collecting an open net late on, and we have a tie game again in game one.
I wasn't even sure if they needed him. No, he was just there to support his team, who outplayed Rogue on a flank. A couple of good touches for Exet, and the Rogue just did not have anything in the air. The blocks were not coming in time. And you can see the Exet just works the ball aerial-wise. Could get another one. Will there be a touch? There's still a follow-up on the ground, but that's too weak from JPOW. In turn, Tura denies what could have been an immediate lead-getting goal from Exet. In the last 10 seconds, the series, or the game, is heating up. We're only in game 1 between Rogue and Exet. And we're heading into overtime. Unless something magical happens at 2-2. And Exet still loves to keep it close.
And certainly they do, as Rogue will be blessing their crossbar at the end of this game if they manage to pull off the win, because that was a little bit too close there at the end of regulation. And it's Exet who are pressing again. JPAL's touch from the ceiling, pretty, but only a pass to Alpha kept there. Bought plenty of time, and Rogue, they are back in numbers here, and the time is being bought by Hotsker with an aggressive challenge. And speak of aggression there, a demo in the midfield is going to open up the net for Taroko, but the save nearly coming through, but Taroko puts it away, and Rogue take game 1.
Oh, you could see that Taroko did not have the best of the followers, the best of landings in JPOW. He was really hoping that he would have been demolished just basically milliseconds earlier. This was the difference between overtime still continuing and this being a Rogue game. Wow. Exet by no means is starting this series as an underdog, a team that is going to be chasing their opposition. I feel like they're coming in to this one with a game plan. Again, Hoxer, while he's on the lower side of the scoreboard with only 2 assists to his name, 2 saves, knowing that what his team has done as well, the fact is he is still the creation power for the side of Exet, and he's still making sure that his touches lead his teammates JPO and Alpha Cap for some chances up front. And we could see just how well it worked, especially on that last goal, where just a series of touches between the whole of the Exet team have allowed them to just go past the Rogue defense altogether for an open net.
Yeah, I mean, you see it really. What an absolute shootout it was. It was 14 shots to 11 in favor of Rogue. They're hoping to see more aggressive play like that. And unfortunately, it was 1 goal the difference again for Exet. You've got to feel for poor JPOW there. He probably might have even made that save if he spawned on the other side. It would have been a little bit more awkward, and what an attempt he did make. But credit to Rogue, taking him out in the middle of the field there. And if they find an Achilles heel maybe in Exet with the aggressive demos, then they could be in for more goals. But it's not going to get one early on in this second game there. That goal was completely vacated, and this time it was the woodwork of Exet. They managed to keep the ball out of the back of the net, and Rogue maybe feeling a little bit unfortunate there, but I'm sure they'll have their chances this game. Still plenty of time on the clock, 0-0.
You can see that Exet are not shy of immediately pulling out the physical game card, hunting for players, getting demos going. The control, I think, has betrayed Exet on that attack. They lost the ball a couple of times, and in the end, their attack was not as powerful as it could have been. In the end, Rogue do manage to stop everyone. Speaking of Rogue, they're now in the attack and trying to create something of their own. Without first killer in the attack, Rogue is going to have a little bit less options. They still have the aerial opportunities, but that does not get straight on target. Next, we'll have to try again a couple of boomers. Do they have the follow-ups? The backboard is there. It seems like the ball is going just too hard towards the Exet players when it's set up that follow-up.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but they're going to keep on trying with the infield here. Hoxter couldn't quite reach it there to keep the shot on target, but the pressure is there, and Taroko has to respond, but does so well here. He's going to come around the wall and force a response out of JPOW. Looks across the field there, hoping to buy time. Forces Turo's boost uses, and a great 50 from Hoxter there. Going to buy so much breathing room for JPOW to collect the ball, force another 50 here, and they've set up at the halfway line, but a double commit could prove costly here as First Killer has got space. He's uncontested, he's up towards the backboard. The double touch does not come through there. Hoxter had to respect it, had to pre-jump, and the shot again, a double commit. Unfortunately, it's all set up in net. RX set the second net on offense here. They've really turtled up fast, and that's okay because it really puts up a solid defense, but it's never really ideal there. And you see the aggression, the table sort of turned. Alpha Keb is the one now looking for the demos here, as we're still goalless in this second game. No cheap goal at the start like in game 1 here, and you have to think that it certainly might be coming soon.
I want to see which one of the teams reads this better. In turn, just seemingly passes it straight to the player of Exet. More shots are coming in through. feels to me that the gameplay is getting much more awkward in terms of nobody's getting clear touches. As a result, the whole thing is just a little bit scuffed. First killer has to make that save. And again, this comes off out of these awkward, not easy to read plays. A great drop. And Rogue have to improvise on the spot, but both teams right now are forced to be a little bit more original with their play, having to read not what they usually reading with the plays, with the touches, but something that they have to react in the spur of the moment. Is going to be the difference of who can do this better, seemingly, in this game too.
That's incredible that that save got made there, despite the bump coming through on the goal line, keeping us goalless here, as it is still in the Rogue half of the field, and the loose 50 bouncing mid, potentially dangerously, as a shot will come through, no double touch. First killer gonna deny that one there, as Hoxter, he will challenge that and put it infield again, not the first time. We've seen him do it that game, but this time Turo is first to the mid ball here, and J-Pow likewise beaten out by first killer, but Alpha kept back, and the numbers back for Xset to deal with that one for now, as he's going to take it down, but with no boost to his name, just an awkward touch, and the possession's turned over. But speak of awkward there, Turo and Sirocco queuing up there, not sure, I don't even know if either of them still know who was meant to be going for that ball, and they have still somehow got possession. A little strange as the loose ball to Hoxer, and the ball's not going to find the back of the net. Yes, it will. J-Pow will put it away, and one of the strangest goals I've seen in quite some time.
Finally, then, like you could see as Hoxer sends it off the roof of Turo, that's what gives that bounce and that power. Consider it almost like a pinch or a skip doink, I suppose. That's how the whole defense of Rogue gets just a little bit behind of the whole play. Cannot find an answer. That deadlock was broken, and fantastically, Xset now have a minute and a little bit to change to get something going in this game number 2. Could be another one-goal affair, but the ball, somebody needs to hit the ball, and the first killer coming in strong. That's going to be a tie pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. The defense under a little bit too much. J-Pow not quite getting his read, and it's going to be costly as first killer. Easy for him to convert from there. It was a better note to open up post the kickoff when first killer tried to pop it and take it for an air dribble or play of the sorts, and J-Pow just sniped him out the air. It was fantastic to see, but when he's not making contact on that clear, he cannot really be complained when it gets punished, and the equalizer does come through, and maybe it'll be more for Rogue, as a beautiful shot from Sirocco there, completely sniping the top corner, forces the response from the defense, as likewise straight on the counter-attack it's played across, and Sirocco can't get that block. Patience from J-Pow, but he cannot get it past the last man. Turo, he stands strong there and gets that much needed block, and a block is needed from Alpha Ket, but the bounce is still dangerous, but this time first killer lets it run, but nobody there behind to take that shot, as we are tied heading into the final seconds here. And Hoxer, he's taken it down underneath one, he's blocked another, but everyone on that side of the field means the loose ball. Turo is just happy to collect it, happy to slap it to the backboard. The shot from first killer is not quite on target. That was an incredibly difficult shot, but the pressure still comes through. Sirocco shutting down the clear early, but Hoxer fakes out the pop, dodges Torocco's bump by just not even moving, and first killer's not gonna make contact. Hoxer has done it with 3 seconds left. Xset could have got themselves a game.
I like that you said that you've seen some weird goals, and we've seen some weird goals in the series, but this is seemingly the weirdest one of them all. And with a little bit of a high five in here from Xset players, 3 seconds remaining. A quick kickoff miracle is currently needed from Rogue, but this immediately goes neutral with Torocco in the air. They cannot do it, and Xset, wow, they pulled it out of nowhere, that play, and everyone's going to be scratching their heads how on earth that went in. But you could also see that in this second matchup, Xset have been much more efficient with the terms of their attack. They've outshone Rogue when it came to putting chances on target. My goodness, it definitely worked in the end. It was a hard job, and they had only 3 seconds still in tow to get this into regulation. We were heading towards another overtime by the looks of it. Xset do tie up the series in, I suppose, in Xset fashion.
Yeah, it's strange enough, really. You could say that the goals, when they came, seemed like they came out of nothing, but realistically, they were coming for a long time. 10 shots to 4 in favor of Xset, who actually this time come out on the preferable side of a 2-1. I would say I'd much prefer to win the 2-1 here, as we do tie up the series. Rogue won't be happy with a little bit of shoddiness, really, on the defense a couple times, but at least they were forced errors from the side of Xset. They'll see that as a weakness, and they can get hunger from that, motivation, and most importantly, confidence, as at the top level the game is played just as much off the field as it is on it. And immediately First Kill is going to open up with a demo to reiterate that and try and get inside the heads of the Xset players here if we see the physical play come to fruition once again like in game 1. But speaking of game 2, Hoxer has got time on the ball again. He's dribbled it inside and bumped one, and Xset are looking like they're teasing with danger time and time again. Rogue just not really seizing the game, not really taking it in the grasp that you might have expected at the start of the series, and Hoxter again is up with time. He's got the flip reset, he's got it on target, but Taroko with the save, and the follow-up from Turintura is going to keep the ball safe for now, but I say safe, First Killer has baited a player and taked it underneath, but he will not find the 50 with Hoxer on the back line. Rogue, they may be under plenty of pressure, but they look like they can also strike back at any moment.
Yeah, the counters from Rogue have been absolutely deadly. We've seen it in the previous games already when sometimes Rogue have 2 players up the field. And look at that, give and go to Rogue, and do believe that was First Killer. Making sure that Xset are forced to guess where the ball is going to go in the following second. Here, a little bit of mishap in the corner. They need a player immediately up front. But neither Taroko nor First Killer want to commit straight up. I think for a chance that Xset almost gifted their opposition, and First Killer, you could see such an forward position. He is right there on the goal line, trying to find himself a redirect. Was not working in his case, and with AlphaCap breaking down, you could see just how much intention, how much speed there is with Rogue trying to defuse the situation. Another exit attack.
I mean, you see the hunger now that's coming out from Xset, and the bumps and the dunks that are coming through in this corner. First Killer's really had to wrestle it out of the back there, and with a touch from Turintura to get past J-Pow, they're really having to fight for this possession, Rogue, and it's really working out better for Xset, I feel. Although you're talking about the redirect First Killer was going for on the goal line upfield, Hoxter still somehow made that save despite his car being in the way. And once again, we've gotten through the first 2 minutes without a goal. Who will it favor this time as a massive bump comes through? But J-Pow is back in time to take care of that ball, and he's going to get the back boost for his efforts as well. He's going to pop it up, but First Killer challenging it very, very early. AlphaCap is up first. The touch is awkward. Turintura having to reach it, and he does so well, and it's dropping down. Hoxter with one of the strangest of double touches, actually going to outplay both teams, and it's going to work out for First Killer, who's dribbling it downfield, isn't going to find too much luck here as we do approach halftime here, and it's a little bit of a standoff. As I say, that immediate shot coming through. Taroko with the shot, with the J-Pow save, it's not going to be enough. Turintura first to the second ball, and he puts it in the back of the net.
And quickly unfolds the moment this is put on the backboard. J-Pow does a fantastic job following up on that ball off the backboard when he was trying to make the initial clear. But this is just not enough. When Rogue have the possibility and have the willingness to crash on that net, boy, do they make that work. There's just no chance for Xset to get anything going when you have 3 players going towards you. Another demo, though. The physical plays have been quite prominent for Xset in the series. They cannot find anything on this attack. We'll have to try again. Now with a man disadvantage. Cannot do it either. And look at that, how quickly with 2 players up front, once again, Rogue transition from midfield into attack in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and that really does reiterate when you're in control of a game and not the confidence out of your opponent. That lovely touch infield off the curve of the wall from Turintura, just completely putting it in the path of First Killer. It was seamless. It was like well-oiled machinery. And when your opponents are making it, like you say, look so effortless to get the ball from their end straight downfield, deep into yours, that's when you start to doubt yourself. That's when they really look hard to play against. And if Rogue can keep their foot on the pedal in that sense, winning races to the ball like that, getting huge clears, but really linking up nicely, that's when they really stamp their authority here. And if they could get a 2-goal daylight sort of lead to put that gap between them and Xset, that's when they'll feel more in control. And when their confidence starts flowing, it could potentially just snowball out of control.
Well, this now a different game as the bomb from AlphaCap comes in on the goalie from Rogue, and Hoxter this time does it himself. You can see out of the corner of your eye, defender, wham! AlphaCap gets rid of Taroko, and there's no difficulty for Hoxter to put that straight on target. And for Xset in the game that has been the opposite of game number 2, which they won, this one so far has been under the control of Rogue, and something like this is incredibly important to put themselves on equal footing and try to claw back, and I do mean claw back, because that has not been easy. Something in this game, 1 minute remaining, how on earth are we in a situation of another potential overtime? I suppose I should have expected this. This is Exit after all.
It is true. It has got to this point as maybe the demo would have worked out in time for them as well. It was a huge bump from Alpha Kep that got the equalizer, and maybe a huge air dribble from First Killer. No, denied by Hoxer. Taroko with the shot towards the bottom corner. This time, J-Pow is the one there to make that save, and it's late into Game 3. The go-ahead in the series here. You want to be moving on to Series Point. We talked about how important this series is for Exet to give them a chance of making it to the playoff stage here, but Rogue, they want to keep their foot on the pedal, just like we were mentioning before. As speaking of overtime, maybe there'll be one last chance in the game for First Killer as he's looking for the double touch off the ground, and he's gonna find it with 5 seconds on the clock.
Oh, this is the game the complete opposite of the previous one we just saw. That time it was 3 seconds and Exit getting that 2-1 lead for themselves. This time it's First Killer. And it seems like another flashback to the previous goals that Rogue have scored as well. First Killer, turn before him, they're utilizing this shot off the ground to make the opposition guess. You do not know where that's gonna come in the following second, and it's incredibly hard to put up any defense against this on the goal line. Most likely, you're not gonna get it on the goal line, period, since it's gonna go way above you, maybe under the crossbar. It is incredibly tough to get anything going there. Rogue on a match point in a series that has been incredibly close. 3rd game in a row, 1 goal difference. Overtimes denied in 2 previous games at the last possible moment. And most importantly for Exet, seems like the momentum has swung against them. While Rogue still have their issues, namely I feel like their rotations are a little bit weak. They're running into each other quite often. Exet have not been able to utilize this fully. Still, the biggest, I think, ace in the sleeve that Exet have at this point is those fantastic physical plays. We've seen it plenty of times. Rogue have kept losing their players left and right, and that allowed Exet to find themselves an opening in the middle of the field on the flank. But still, in this match, it has not been enough. Will they be able to make it work in what could be their final game of this series? Let's see.
Yeah, it's do or die, and you talk about the ace in the deck. It did feel a bit like during this series we've been playing top trumps, and unfortunately there, at the end of Game 3, it was just like Rogue just played the strongest top trump. They just played First Killer double touch, I win. And unfortunately, there's just not much you can do about that right at the end of the game, and it could prove costly. But Exet not out of it yet here in Game 4, but can Rogue finish it off? Exet did just come off a Game 5 loss. This time, they're just hoping to make it to Game 5 as J-Pow does send it hopefully in field here, and certainly they'll be wanting to get the opening goal so that they can rebuild their momentum and break that Rogue confidence. And speak of double touch, J-Pow, can he provide? It's a good angle down, but going to be denied by the crossbar every time there as it's infield once again, looking to be direct. Exet, they ain't got no patience today. They want this goal, and they want it now, and the shot, oh, the post is cruel, and it's not going to be put in. That's painful to watch.
Again, they're trying to squeeze water out of the stone Exit on that play. Hoxer constantly keeping the ball in attack, trying to, with any possible touch, just keep it within the reaching distance of his teammates, and it almost worked, but done that post has been both the ally and the enemy. And now Taroko creates something of his own, a little bit of a magic trick on a wall with not much to work and really not a lot of space, but man, does he position himself just perfectly to get all of the power that he could do through the bumper on that double tap.
Oh, that's so tiny. It could be a series-winning goal as well. He had no room to work with, as you say. And Hoxer, he was thinking the same thing as us. He was sat in the net just like, yeah, I'll wait for this rebound. There's no way he's making it. Oh, yep. He scored. Guess we're losing then, as they do have time on the clock, but 1-0 is the scoreline here in Taroko. He's not going to opt for that one. This time it's Turo's turn. He won't quite find the flip reset with that flip, and he's going to get the touch out to mid regardless here. As you can see, the hesitation out of the Exet defense, not really willing to lose one more race to the ball as First Killer uncontested in the midfield for the bounce here. He cannot sneak it in at the near post, though. Alpha Kep is there for the deny, and Turo on the end of Taroko's pass. It's 2-0, and it's beautiful.
The longer this attack went, the more you could see that the road have been tightening the vices tighter and tighter on Exet, constantly off the left flank. Balls have been coming midfield for somebody for Rogue to take. There was always somebody on the rotation, incredibly slick and quick as well. They also had the resource to continue on putting the players up front. Usually it's 1-2 and then wow. Now it's a 3-0. And I'm afraid this is one of those times for Xset when the unfortunate huge loss is now staring them in the face. Quick reminder though, earlier today they managed to claw back 3 goals in about 60 seconds versus Team Envy. That was also the final match of the series. So, deja vu. Hopefully for Xset this time it's not going to be a loss, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, there certainly is. There's another double commit on the defense. The pain there of watching 2 of you pre-jump and the ball still find the back of the net for a 3rd goal. But like you say, they've already made comebacks in game force today. But Hoxha, he cannot reach that ball. They're pushed up so far. They're trying to close the gap, restrict the breathing room, and sometimes it's a little too far as Turinturo is just going to fire a softball and it's going to find the far post. You can't blame Xset for wanting to press so high. They need a goal. They can just throw the kitchen sink. There's no difference between losing 3-0 and 4-0, but there was still plenty of time to work with, and now that mountain's grown just that little higher.
Well, this is straight up the scenario of the Team Envy match of the final game. 4 goals. So in the minute and a half, I suppose, Xset are going to all of a sudden pull out all the stops and try to get something out of this game. But right now, it is looking rough. Barely crossing the 100-point mark. Only 1 shot for the whole team of Xset. This has been Rogue show the moment this match started. You can see some smart plays. Slow it down. Why hurry? Even in this situation, why hurry? You can create something when you're just trying to catch your opposition, thinking that you're going to just rush towards it. No. Xset still have a lot of smarts about their play. Time is playing on against them. Still in the attack, still trying to find their... Well, they found their 2nd shot, but no goal on the end of that one in the Xset. Well, might as well start thinking about their final match of the day. That's going to be against Shopify Rebellion for Rogue. They're going to cement their place at the top of the standings in the group after this match is over. Not over just yet, though.
Yeah, exactly. There's still over 90 seconds on the clock as AlphaCat is going to work it nicely round the corner. But like you say, this is rough. And to be honest, might be worse than that. It's more like a carpet burn, and the problem is this game, Rogue's plays have been silky smooth, and it's really just been a class just put on for complete show, as really just winning balls all over the field. And when they link up this well, you can see why they're so reliably a top team in North America, placing 3rd so often in the rankings of the points. They may be 4th in the overall, but still, they're looking fine form. As I say that, of course, they're going to concede an open net runaway. I'll just say that a few more times, and we may have a close game on our hands there, as AlphaCat's going to pass to himself for the open net, and with still over a minute on the clock, it is believable, but I probably wouldn't hedge my bets just yet.
Chat, are you with us? Because this is it. This is the exact same scenario. I cannot believe we have it twice. So just a quick reminder, Xset have been able to score 3 against Envy in a matter of 1 minute. They needed the last one, and look at that. The shots are coming in. They're now in the attack. Please tell me they can repeat this. And this is a great pass to J-Bob, but Taroko's save is even better. And this is a clear that they did not want. Top right corner for Skiller. I think he didn't even look at this. I want to get his camera view again.
Fantastic.
Up the field, looking for a pass. Nope, not even looking. Just a great redirect from a great play.
It's a perfectly timed side flip, and to find the back of the net from there is impressive, but to literally place it aimbot top corner, that's just rubbing salt in the wounds right now. That's 5-1, and the rest will be a formality, barring a miracle to end all miracles, as Xset, unfortunately, like you say, going to be 0-3 in the group, and that's fair enough. It was mostly predicted that they would struggle in this group, and we're not surprised by the fact. It's just a shame by just how close the margins have been sometimes. I say that in a game that is, of course, 5-1, which is ironic, but still, it genuinely has in the majority of their series. They've got 1 series left today to try and keep themselves in this group. The Grid wildcard team certainly happy to be here, won't be happy in which the painfulness that the losses are coming, but got 1 life left. And Rogue, they move on, and well played to them.
Bravo. Rogue have recovered after the start of the series. Skiller also being very overconfident with the way he just played, but really in many ways Skiller should be happy about his performance against some crazy moments that he has pulled out of his hat. And Rogue, yep, once again gets proven they are one of the best teams in the region. Still, they have 2 more matches to play themselves versus Team Envy and versus Shopify Rebellion. These matches are going to be coming out on your screens later on. But for XSET, one tiny chance, one tiniest of the chances, and they also need to be relying on Susquehanna Sonics dropping their matches as well. Mathematically, I feel like this is still can be possible. Realistically, XSET seemingly to be team with a lot of heart behind them, that's for sure. JPO, AlphaCap, and Hoxer have been tremendous in, at very least, their approach to the game, and they've been trying to get as close to that win as they could possibly get, but close does not count, and all those 1-goal games does not count for much either if you are not having that W at the end of the day. Well, for XSET, keep on giving your energy. Again, 1 more match remaining, and if they do not make it to the second day, then start cheering for AlphaCap. As far as I know, he has teamed up with ZPS of Pittsburgh Knights and TKRL of Sonics, out of all people, for the Intel World Open as one of the USA teams, so you will be able to cheer for him. On the other side, another surprising setup as First Killer teamed up with Garrett G from NRG and Chicago from G2 Esports. That is a really weird setup, but there might be a lot happening behind the scenes why these players have decided to go specifically this arrangements. But we're almost done. Your immediate thoughts about the series, though, Tylacto. Was there ever a chance for XSET to take this, or should everyone just put the points into Rogue at the very start of it and forget about it?
I mean, certainly the safe bet would have been on Rogue, but absolutely XSET were in with a fighting chance there. That game 4 was not representative of the series. And you talk about First Killer at the end. For those of you who couldn't see in the chat there were all commodities at the end there. Everyone says GG, smiley faces all round. And then there was First Killer who said GG's yawn, which is, yeah, like we say, definitely confident and certainly flexing that final scoreline, which was emphatic in Rogue's favor. But the series, very close there nonetheless. And I feel bad for XSET, unfortunately, but we can credit the fact that they are a team that has gone from strength to strength, really. The questionable decision of dropping Chronovi at the time in full, people were like, well, can you really do that? But they really have been improving it over time. They had a great winter split to be proud of, and this spring split has certainly been no poor performance either. So while the series may not have gone to a game 5, I think it's certainly one they can be proud of. And like you say, still 1 series left today for them to put in a good performance.
Congratulations to Rogue, commiserations to XSET. When we come back, it's going to be time for G2 Esports versus Version 1 in Group B. Another team trying to make it from the bottom of the standings. Version 1, well, don't go anywhere. The North American Spring Split Major is going to continue straight after this.
And welcome back to the Rocket. It's been a, well, as I said in the pre-show, a jam-packed schedule as well. And, well, 6 members of the production down. We are joined by myself and Spooks here for what should be, as described, match of the day here. V1 versus G2 Esports. And Spooks, what a match this is.
Well, in the beginning I would have agreed that this is the match of the day, definitely, but with the way things have been going in the other matches, I don't know if it can be called the match of the day right now.
Well, a bit strange. There's such a turnaround in events. It's only like we've been playing a sort of a round robin group stage, and well, Virgin 1 has been a little bit unfortunate at times here. Spooks, they have yet to really get out of the trap, so to speak, with a series win.
Yeah, they have 3 game 5s. They bring it all the way against SSG, FaZe, and NRG, and just cannot finish it out. It must be painful. And for G2 on the other end, it seems to be going perfectly. Perfect sweep against SSG, no goals against them, and they sweep FaZe as well. They're looking stellar right now.
That might be as well here with everything happening. G2 already through, FaZe through, and Shopify through as well in Group A. The 3 teams that we had question marks for the race of the sort of last 2 spots becomes into the final day showdown, and if it remains as standing, they don't face each other till the semi-final stage either.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a seeding game on that end, because you're looking at who's gonna maybe face each other in that semifinals if they all win their own games. Like, if it's G2 against FaZe, then as Shopify Rebellion, you're just screaming with joy, and for the other options as well, it's just, you have to be the first seed, I think. For both old teams, you just have to try and get that first seed, and for G2, that means sweeping this game and getting done with it.
Not getting on with it, and well, that's what we will be getting on to as well, because this match isn't far away either. So, with everything going on in a round 2, V1 themselves here, Spooks, I normally like OTs, and I like long series. V1 is almost a testament of that so far today.
They're exactly your type of team, and I mean, I've said it before, they go to game 5 all the time, and it's gotten to the point that they're currently the team that has gone the distance, so to game 5 or game 7, the most out of the entire all the regions. It used to be Guild before this major, but now it seems that V1 has taken over. A little bit of a stat track by Direct who's kept me up to date with that. They're currently, if I'm correct, 55 series over this season that has gone the distance for V1.
That's an amazing stats. It's just repetitive at this point here. I would just ask for a prediction from yourself. I know the chat will have their say shortly here. It doesn't look favourable based on what has happened today, but would your opinion change? This is where I'm going to start with. Is G2 versus the V1 match itself, were you leaning one way in particular and that's altered, or are you still sticking to what you originally thought with today?
Well, coming into today, I thought, well, it's G2, they're looking good, they're on a bit of a high. It's V1 who normally struggles. They're a good team, they're right up there, but they can't get it done. So with the way G2 has been looking, sweeping all around, yeah, they're probably gonna win this, to be honest. I do not see much hope for V1.
Well, how much hope is left in the tank? V1 in the blue, G2 Esports themselves playing from the orange strip. And already, we've seen already a few dangerous play, and earlier in today, G2 looked unstoppable. Although we'll have to maybe continue that. Nice little block there, and Torment setting himself off, so a little double touch, blocked away by the defender. Easy done, 30 seconds. And for the first time in a while, G2 may have seen the defense. They have a sniff at the target, not happening yet.
It's a great start for V1 and a good shot coming out, gimmicks in a way. And what an opening for V1. They push back G2, it's a good start. G2 hasn't been on their own half for quite a while today, so if you can start off with that, it might be a promising thing, but we know V1 can do it to anyone. They can bring it to game 5 against anyone. I'm not surprised if this goes to the same style, really.
That'll be interesting as well on the style and everything else that may be developed on this point. I remember in the Winter Major when Rizzo was in this roster casted, maybe a particular Ghost Gaming as well too, as well as on YouTube. Available to watch him at well. But right now at length here, V1 testing and probing the defence at times, not happening. JNAPS waiting patiently and Gimmick whips that one away here, comfortable so far here. The save, however, for both sides, well, slowly chalking up after 90 seconds.
Just touching the water a tiny bit, dipping your toes and seeing what you can do. Nothing too much coming out. There's the first demo coming out. I would love to see a couple more of those. And Chicago is going on a warpath right now. Shots on target. It's a tiny bit too high, but it's in a dangerous spot. Chicago can't get it on target. Tiny bit too wide, and we're starting to see G2 amp it up with especially Chicago saying goodbye to all the defenders.
2 minutes gone, and it's been goalless so far here. And these two teams, statistic-wise, especially against each other, it's either a 1 or 2 goal game. Very rarely it sends anything really more further than that in difference. And they can barely separate the two either. Half time approaching, double commit slightly by G2 and Gimmick. Infield pass over the turn. Sadly it goes wide and trickles off to the scorer, and JNAPS waiting patiently. Not going to reach him until now. And it's a good save by Com as well.
Chicago tries to bring it inside, give a bit of patience to his team, but he gives it away to Calm. Not what you're looking for, and not Torment looking for that solo play, getting to Calm. It seems that V1 has been struggling to find each other a tiny bit right now. They're just hitting the ball away from G2 to not lose instead of trying to create something. Calm finally taking a bit of control onto the Torment. It's getting intercepted by Chicago, who has so far been my man of the match already, because he's just been so quick to everything. And just been such an annoyance against the defenders. He's looking for bumps and demos non-stop. Shot on target. Not enough just yet.
Torment. Oh, this is nice. Back over. And a nice 1-2 and a layoff in between. V1 themselves looking a bit more potent now. And Chicago, decent block, not allowing. Unleashed now, G2! And Chicago rips one in. And this is already a deafening blow to the confidence of V1.
You could have felt it in the water. It was dripping down, and you could see Chicago non-stop being on the verge of just getting that ball on target and getting that shot in the net. And finally, the first goal has been found. Now it's just on to V1 to catch up and get back into the series. Can they do it? Right now, Chicago's looking for a second one. There he goes.
Yes, can they do it? Maybe a bit more difficult after this one as well. G2 normally in game 1. Before today, Spooks, they won 12 games, played 12. Looked unstoppable in spring so far. This might just continue here. The G2 storm of pure domination might happen here. Com, decent block here, but what else does G2 have here with Chicago still onto the ball? Well, it's going towards the net, not on target.
Yes, onto Chicago. It's a good pass, but he isn't quick enough. And you can just see G2. It's oozing from them. They're so confident right now. I think those last couple of games have just given them that confidence that they needed. Phoenix gets blocked by Gimmick, but Chicago is there to follow him up, takes it all by himself, and this is the control that I talked about. V1 seems to be a tiny bit lacking, but maybe a team play coming out to come once again. It's just too slow to get past JNAPS.
Pace being a huge factor. Chicago needed every bit of that to save it. Right, 30 seconds warning and calm. This is a nice setup. Trying to snipe the bottom right corner. Not happening. Infield pass. It's in the 18-yard box. Chicago pops, flips and moves down here in G2. Well, they're just edging so closely to another game victory. It might continue with 10 seconds on the board here. Spooks, G2. What a campaign start to spring.
They look unstoppable, and at the exact moment that you need it. They need to do well this major. They need those points. They're already ahead of Shopify and Rebellion, and FaZe. But they need those extra points to just secure this to themselves. They make sure, hey, we are here. We are the ones that are going easily into that major, and just show off Dries a tiny bit, because he's a new gun and he's been playing incredibly well, in my opinion.
I'll have to agree with you that, and so far statistically as well, not necessarily a goal scorer, but a goal stopper, 1.27s, and joining the team itself in terms of the main roster. Rizzo, huge presence to somewhat take the steps and maybe trying to push G2 to the next level. And of course, fighting for that championship spot as well. 2 up for grabs here. Get through the group stage playoff is all in their own hands here. It'll be interesting to see how the standings were shape up by the end of the day. But game 2 has just started, and Torment, well, he is tormenting G2 right now.
Fire up the engines, Torment is ready. It seems that G2 just started a bit slow, and Torment capitalized on that. And as we have a bit of a pause, Danny.
Well, it just seemed to be too good to be true. 1 goal happened, pause it is, but I suppose that gives us a plenty of time for a reflection on how the series has been going so far here, and we might as well make the statistic mark as well. Torment, if the goal did stand, by the way, averaging 0.63 per series as well. Not too bad over 79 games played and a 53% win rate as well. Spooks, plenty on offers here by him as well too, and well, everything sort of on the plate right now. It just shows you how V1 has been close in series.
I mean, like I said, V1 can bring it to anyone, but especially Torment, I feel like people are starting to sleep a tiny bit on him, because they haven't been that explosive that they were back when they had still Squishy with them. But you cannot forget that, yes, Torment might not be the most direct mechanical player you'll find around, but he can shoot for days. My goodness, that man, he has a power in his offense. Everyone remembers Torment as the defensive hold for C9 back in the day, but let that man go onto offense and you'll see so much pain on the other side.
That should be interesting as well, and hopefully whatever the issue may be will be resolved shortly as well too. So with everything that has been happening in terms of what's around the scene as well too, if you're in G2's position here, you're playing V1, you're guaranteed top 3 here. Are they playing for position in terms of it? Or are they going to have a sort of a cheeky look in Group A, see where they might be ending up in the grand scheme of things?
I just don't think Rocket League is the game where people would like to play those mind games. I think, in my opinion, you would just want to beat every single team you come against. If you can go unbeaten out of your group, not even losing a single game, I think that's way more of a statement than maybe getting on the better side of the bracket tomorrow.
It'll be interesting how that might be as well here, and we're at least having, by the looks of it, a player might be having a few internet issues here, so we are just double checking to make sure everything is fine so far here. We just want to make sure everything is updated to you, the viewers here. Don't forget, of course, UGC and the main channel, of course, streaming their various games so far in the round number 4. And we have been talking briefly all about that as well too. But I did mention as well, Spooks, how these two teams match up statistically. A goal usually is the difference so far between them two, specifically wise. Do you know which one has actually the better record when it's only 1 goal difference?
I'm correct, it's actually V1 that looks, G2 that looks to be the one that's taking these games away from V1 a lot. But they haven't faced each other as much since the addition of Calm. They just haven't seen each other that much. They've just been on the other side non-stop, and if you look at the stats, and that's something that might be a bit more interesting for everyone, these two teams on stats and on paper are so incredibly close that when I looked at it, almost every single stat they were based on, they just were together.
Well, just like that as well, and everything has been resolved. Goal stands as well, and for that little small trivia quiz, V1 was indeed the correct answer at 63.75, and G2 is sitting 4th So two very close sides. We expect it to be so. Game 1 was already evidence of that. And this is a nice pass and play here to extend it to 2. And unfortunately blocked away there. Dreas, nice little pop into the middle and Com's done well to calm the situation down. Allow the defenders to get back into play here and head on the counter.
Yes, has a bit of time, but he gives it away to Torment, and it seems V1 has slowly ramped up their passing plays because they're finally trying to find each other. But this ball finds Chicago. He doesn't do much with it at all, though. That might have been just a freebie if he could have gotten it. This is on the backboard. Rias trying to not own goal that ball. And luckily for him, it goes all the way away. But sadly enough, it's in Torment's head. Gets it past one. Almost gets it past the defenders, but there's sadly always someone waiting. You get it past 1, you get it past 2, but then there's always the third just there to ruin your play.
Always seems to be as well, but Torment can't be sitting there begrudging as well. We've already seen on other streams today how well Torment has been to be for Gimmick as well too on the defensive duties. They've required it to get into those game 5s. Let's see how this continues going forward, and that's a big blunder as well, and Jane Apps to cover Torment. Beaten, and suddenly the space wide open for G2 if they can actually find the last killer pass here. Dreas just may have misread the angle and the projection of this one. 2 minutes gone. V1 has the lead. The question for how much longer here is the attack building. Surely on the 3rd and 4th set of phases now. Andreas back into the middle. Spooks, it just seems to be hit ball, see ball type attitude right now.
I think V1 wants that type of attitude because it means that the control is just in no one's hands, and if you're 1-0 up, that's probably what you're looking for. But the demo coming out is a dangerous ball. Kong gets it to the side. Almost enough to just show that you can get the ball gone even in those dangerous situations. But the attack just keeps on going. It's just like waves one after another. You keep getting hit by it. Jaynep's looking for the pass into the middle. It's a good pass. Smart usage from the ceiling as well, but finally maybe the attack dies.
Just like that. Ball back into the middle as well too. Something after 3 months worth of gameplay, the lack of a goal here really is evident based on how the play style's been. The game has calmed down as well, and that's a mistake as well, popped up by Gimmick. Wastes time and boost as well for both sides, but V1 will be the benefactors of it. Today it's going for the demo, and V1 not being faced either. Nice blocked as well by Jnaps. Another avenue certainly being explored. Not yet, however, finding the right straight here. It's Jnaps, quick shot, and Com moves out of the way for another save. It's incredible what he's done so far today.
The defensive hold keeps holding themselves strong. The wall does not break just yet. And Andreas is together with Chicago. The ball isn't in. That should have been a goal. The demo came out as well. Just a tiny bit of impatience. You could have baited that out a tiny bit more and you would have had something. Now it's V1 looking for that counter-attack. It just dies down as well quickly enough, as V1 just is not looking to push up at all in a dangerous position.
Chicago's there, pushing still further, trying to find a way to break through. V1 here, Gimmick a block, but mind you, G2 prowling for their first here in the second game. Jnaps surely a pass over. Gimmick beaten. The ball, however, wasn't on target. Will not phase V1 here to Chicago. Moves straight down here in Gimmick. Pops it up. Just seems to be a stellar little play in terms of the slowing down tactics. And so far here, last time they met in the regional, we're to date this back to regional 1 of the spring side. 4-3 that series went. Gimmick's off to the back. Well, I don't think it might be as tight so far, but V1 certainly making it interesting.
Definitely are, and you can clearly see the tactic. This is a good ball onto the backboard. Chicago gets it gone, but you can really see that V1 is looking for this booming ball playstyle to just keep the ball away. An attempt comes out from G2, but there is always a player ready to just disrupt it. This is a good ball to Drias. Can he shoot it on target? It goes in and gets past the defenders. Drias, with 5 seconds left to spare, gets the goal.
Just like that, they find it after so much time spent on it. 5 minutes, basically. Took them that long. There'll be a few heads probably being shaken by both sides. Nonetheless, OT could be probable, and V1 back at it again, unless there might be a last moment. Not happening. And Spooks, here we are again at OT.
Familiar friend for version 1, they meet again. Probably not what they were looking for. They hope to just finish out the game. Now they have to try and find another goal and have to be aggressive again. Come with a good little setup, gets it past one. Trias is on the backboard. He's been looking stellar this time around. First game it was Chicago, now it's Trias. This is an open ball. Chicago gets it. Gimmett tries to get it back into the center. It hits the post.
Stunned. The post in eyes, and 30 seconds gone by. V1 still looking to build on what they've got here. JNAP soft touch into the air dribble. Com blocks. Second attack, and that's on target. Double commit in G2. Breathing down the necks of V1's defence here. JNAP surely across. Spotted his own teammate here, and Com waits patiently. Up and skip away here. Surely defence, no real two there, and Com. Nice flick as well. Jerez. Easy clearance surely for Gimmick, and Com has to bail him out of that one.
An uncharacteristic whiff coming out from Torment as well. You can see that they're starting to get shaken a tiny bit by the aggression from G2. You saw it building up before as well, but they just couldn't handle it because they were 1-0 down, but now it's 1-1 and you just see it coming up. This is a shot from Gimmick. It's a good attempt, but this time the defenders were right where they needed to be. It seems that at least some normality has come down. A bit of slowness now. Good pass coming out to Gimmick. It's a good shot. JNAP's had to backflip for it, but it was a very awkward spot to be in for the defenders.
2 minutes gone by here, and V1's day has been filled with Game 5's OTs as well before today. At least in Spring itself, 38 seconds worth in total in the entirety of Spring, to near enough 1 hour of G2. Both ticking up here. Surely it's about even at this point here in JNAP's. Back into the middle. Chicago blocked by Torment. The mid-lane domination. We've seen from the ex-world champion how well he was back in his day, showing why he's still at this level. As Com. Nice little play, but allows Chicago to move up forwards, and surely an attack here today is there under and knee trying to go. Not happening, and the clock still ticking down here. V1 surely desperate ones to get one win on the board here.
Well, ticking down, you say, you must be saying ticking up as it just keeps on going. These teams have had long overtimes before Chicago gets it past the defenders. I thought this was an easy enough shot to get to defend, but Chicago gets it past all the defenders and in.
Just in, straight in. Job done, G2. What a performance I've had so far here, and well, let's just say G2 so far in this major deserves the respect they've got here. They've made so far this major run so far. Spook looks simple, easy at times here, and beating V1 isn't easy. And they're making it look comfortable so far here. The statistics on your screens already. Dre's getting a goal, not much save here. JNAP's carrying up the weight on that one, but the team effort so far by G2.
And it's just interesting to look at how much version 1 actually got shots on target. It's just that there was always a defender in its way, and G2 is looking to get that sweep once again. It's just unbelievable. Time after time after time, it's just G2 is just so on fire today.
Well, just like that, after this round as well, G2 will have to face the general in the form of NRG. V1 done for the day here. One win surely has to be on the board. Lose this and they are gone and out, and it'll be not even result depending, but that's here nor there for the time being, as Com up and Dre's there. Hits the ceiling, but don't really care so far here. The ball's on the right side of the territory for them. JNAP's beaten, and Dre's soft little play sets himself up surely for the raid, and Torment cannot get the line for the clearance, and Com over the Gimmick straight bang, and some slightly unfortunate touch as well here. Gimmick not free flowing as he always is.
I'm looking for a counter pass. It just doesn't work out as Torment gets bumped as well. Seems that at least the speed has slowed down a tiny bit compared to the last game. They're trying to get more control, both these teams. The overtime is Andreas looking for the pass. It just doesn't connect this time around, but these teams, my goodness, and you said it before, winning against version 1 is not an easy thing. Well, sweeping version 1 is not an easy thing.
Well, the team with the most resistance in North America. It's impressive at what they can do and what they can achieve. Usually always bring a game 5. That's near enough a guarantee here. Remember saying similar lines there with the former pickup and the 8th roster of SK Gaming. Well, V1's got to do something similar. Dreas, however, bangs the ball straight down. Not happening in this. Calmness has near enough distilled onto the playing field in Chicago. Gets that one away too.
Game looking for a pass. It just ends up being a 50 then. And another one coming right after. The 50 game is heading strong today. All gets into the center, but so far V1 has not looked too dangerous, hasn't gotten really anything on target, nor to each other, but the same can be said for G2 at this point. Gimmick looking for the solo play. Always JNAPS, he's always in your path, and this is a good shot. It's past Trias. No, it's not. He hits it on the backboard. But now finally some speed coming out from V1. Can they keep this pressure going? Clearly they can after a whiff that they probably did not see coming.
Tournament there, calm, beaten, and look at that. Dreas has sniffed that one. Sadly, backflips will not be necessarily costly unless V1 can transition this ball straight down. No, and G2, it's almost like a never-ending sort of tormenting pressure they've got on here. Nice little pass into the middle. Surely they'll set themselves up for the team play. Dreas back down. Not happening, and V1 will be just saying thank you, and we'll move on with our own.
Oh, that was such a close ball for Torment. He probably didn't expect that to come to him like that. Chicago does get the save credited to him, but it's an incredibly dangerous ball to see in front of your own net. Now Torment finally has a bit of time, tries to get it past one, and once again, JNAPS is in your path. It's just that whenever you try and get past someone, JNAPS is just right behind them, just making sure nothing gets past the defense.
Gimmick there over the calm. Very much a defensive game V1 has to play here. Interesting, of course, what the defensive plan that their coaches have created up for them in the 60-odd seconds. In the last particular game, 1 minute will be approaching on the clock here in tournament. He's let that one run all the way to himself, denied to defend it in G2. Learn it to happen as well too. Good demo here in JNAPS. They could have had a little bit more to say there. Not doing it under low shot. Could have been one, shall be one, and G2 was 2-0. They are looking for 3 series without dropping a game in the spring major so far.
Calm pre-jumping that, expecting the quick shot on target, but no, it gets hit into the corner. Incredibly well placed by Chicago, and 1 minute left in the lead once again. V1 has to step it up like they've never done before. You need to do it. Your tournament life is on the line. If you lose this, you're out.
Sounds so simple, and Spook's elegant point has to score 2 to be more precise at this moment. Calm, and not doing much here, and Dreas back around here, not happening. Tournament Gimmick sitting back, and that's a double commit. It's a costly one, but a mistake like that, Calm will not get it. JNAPS was a lucky boy there. That could have been costly.
Well, it's still fine. 20 seconds left. 2-0 up. I fear the worst for version 1 right now, as they've only been able to get 2 shots on target, and this is the dominance from G2 that we saw, especially against SSG. This team is feeling it, and if they can keep it up, I think G2 fans might finally be seeing something that they've been begging for, that they've been asking for so long, to see that tournament win that they've been just inching for so badly.
Got to give credit here. V1, normally such a formidable opponent, not against G2. However, in this spring major, it's incredible so far what G2 has whipped up the storm here, and It's almost like a mission statement to the rest of it, because they've just now gone 3-0 in the group here, Spooks. And, well, before we have in that sort, maybe look onto the groups in a tad bit here. V1 themselves here, where did it go wrong?
I think they just shot themselves in their own foot, but they also got a bit outclassed, I don't want to say, but you can clearly see that this might have just been too much this week, especially. You're looking at especially G2 maybe, that you can beat and take out, or SSG that's using Safju, but that first loss against SSG was so important, and this one against G2, who's just on fire today. What can you do against a team that's looking as hot and as on fire as G2 today? What can you do?
It's a good question, and well, the teams will have to find an answer for that. If not today, maybe tomorrow as well. Plenty that can be talked about as well. I've just had a brief look what's happening around the scene as well too. SSG having a bit of a rough one so far. It was maybe expected. Of course, when you play the general NRG, a 3-0 sweep is expected. And I'm going to Shopify themselves 2-2 against Accept and Envy and Rogue 2-1 there, based on the updates so far here. And, well, Spooks, maybe it is time to maybe even reevaluate how the group standings itself has been going so far here, because Group B has already technically been sorted out with that result.
Yes, it has. Version 1 is sadly out. They needed to win this. If they would have won this, it would have been very much possible that Space Station would have been the one out, but sadly enough, it wasn't meant to be. And as you look at the top, G2 has already secured their spot, and in what a fashion. Now you're just looking to maybe get another sweep on NRG themselves in the last game of today, and I don't put it outside of reality right now. G2 looks way too on fire to just not beat the generals.
Well, that is the case, and well, Group A itself here, Shopify and Rogue still, of course, guaranteed through. Envy, Sonics and Exit still fighting, of course, to see which one will scrape through that one. It's a bit of a tight group there. Exit must-win game there, but that's near enough everything wrapped up. And here in the Rocket side of things here, Spooks, any sort of final words before we send everybody to the various other streams today?
I think we just finished it all off. We just got some results in before we let you go, really. It seems that XZ and V1 are the teams that are sadly out, and right now it's just fighting for those last couple of positions for the other teams.
Well, just like that there as well, of course, with everything done, that is the Rocket, well, saying good night and a goodbye as well to the Season X as well. A massive thank you to Not Blonde Monkey the Cell, Rocket Beget, and the Rocket as well too for everything they've done, and Psionics for allowing us to be the C stream as well too. We hope you have enjoyed us, and maybe for the future we will see you again. But for myself and the entire crew, good night.